Which direction are they going to move after that? Ren Xiaosu is precise guidance. Use grenades to eliminate potential hazards in advance. Ren Xiaosu's extraordinary ability. It is also a smooth breakthrough for the Sharp Knife Company. Not even a single person was injured. Zhang Xiaoman has no doubt now. And so it goes. Not to mention the town of Ishikawa in half a month. I'm afraid that I will be killed by Ren Xiaosu in 2 or 3 days. Have you ever seen a grenade used as a tracking missile? Ren Xiaosu uses the ability of the Shadow Gate. Turned a grenade into a precision head bomb. Defeat the enemies lying in ambush in the corners of the house. Meanwhile, the second company position was in a difficult situation. The enemies lurking in the room are a headache for them. Forcing a charge will only cost them dearly. But if you don't rush, you can't do anything about the enemy. Just when they were at a loss. Suddenly there was an explosion in the enemy's room. It turned out that the Sharp Knife Company had arrived to help. The commander of the second company still didn't understand. Shouldn't they be exchanging fire with the enemy at this time? How did it come out here? And Zhang Xiaoman explained. Nearby artillery and machine gun positions. They have already kicked it. The commander of the second company did not believe it at all. But Zhang Xiaoman said it was a military secret. Can't be leaked. He then had 2 companies hand over all the grenades and celestial bodies. Prepare to continue to support the third company. Although the commander of the second company was unwilling. But he agreed. The Sharp Knife Lotus can come and go freely in street battles. It's a good thing for them. After all, their purpose is to get the job done. And military merit is compared to small lives. That's still life-saving. The battle continued until the evening of the 3rd day. While they are resting, Zhang Xiaoman asked the pawn with some curiosity, "Where are all the grenades?" Ren Xiaosu didn't want to reveal too many secrets. So I made up an ability at random. To say that his ability is to open a black door. Space doors. A small space can also be opened up behind the door. To store things. This seems to be a reasonable statement. Zhang Xiaoman didn't doubt it too much. The battle. Ren Xiaosu always felt that it was too simple. He reminded Zhang Xiaoman. Be careful with the next advances. However, Zhang Xiaoman immediately retorted. If it weren't for your ability to deliver bombs with precision, how many of our deaths in Ishikawa town? Camp Commander Zhou. It was originally intended to drain the entire forward battalion on this. Ren Xiaosu said in surprise. Aren't we here to be cannon fodder? But Zhang Xiaoman said. Today's sacrifice. It was for the total victory of the rear troops. They are to be the leaders of the whole battle. All the way to the northeast. After all, the clan does not get rid of it. There will never be peace in the northwest. Between conversations, a building in the distance suddenly exploded. Ren Xiaosu was shocked. Over there were the positions of the second and third companies. Could it be that the enemy has begun a counteroffensive? Zhang Xiaoman asked him not to rush to support. Judging by this scale, it should only be a counterattack by a small group of enemies. It's certainly not a 2-in-a-row rival. The most important thing for them now should be to get a good rest. Fight for the end of the battle in Ishikawa tonight. But Ren Xiaosu was always at ease in his heart. So he stealthily summoned a dark shadow. Go find out, the inform. Confirmed with his own eyes. This group of enemies is indeed not a 2-in-a-row or 3-in-a-row opponent. Finally, I was relieved. Suddenly, he spotted the defenders of the town of Ishikawa retreating not far away. Immediately understood. This counteroffensive is probably a cover for the retreat. Ren Xiaosu suddenly felt bad in his heart. This battle is certainly not that simple. Ren Xiaosu was worried that the clan would cover Ishikawa town with artillery fire. So he hurriedly asked Zhang Xiaoman to retreat with his troops. But Zhang Xiaoman felt that it was impossible. Said they should take advantage of the victory and chase after it. Instead of retreating backwards, Ren Xiaosu didn't want to expose his ability to hide in the dark. So I don't explain too much. Carrying Zhang Xiaoman, he retreated. It doesn't matter how much he resists. Ren Xiaosu evacuated. While saying seriously, I know what you think. Do you think Ishikawa town only has 3 companies of us? The clan doesn't have to destroy the whole town. But if the clan finds out that I'm here too, that's different. Zhang Xiaowan didn't understand it, but he still chose to believe. So he shouted loudly on Ren Xiaosu's shoulder. Remind the brothers of the second and third companies to retreat quickly. When everyone ran out of breath, a large-scale explosion occurred in the town of Ishikawa. The firepower was enough to raise the town of Ishikawa to the ground. Zhang Xiaoman looked at the scene in front of him and was a little afraid. If you don't go, I'm afraid all three companies are finished. Seeing this, the other soldiers also felt a chill down their spines. Although Zhang Xiaoman's mind is now full of questions, but he didn't plan to ask Ren Xiaosu. After all, everyone has a little secret. He just sincerely expressed his gratitude to Ren Xiaosu. The other soldiers saw this. It was also Qi Shushu who expressed his gratitude. Ren Xiaosu was also full of joy. After all, he has received a large number of thank you pins. On the way back, Zhang Xiaoman also contacted Zhou Yinglong, told him the news that Ishikawa town had been defeated. After learning the news, Zhou Yinglong also hurriedly found Commander Zhang, excitedly reported on the matter. Zhang Jingming was puzzled. Didn't you say that Ishikawa town is not easy to fight? How did you fight it today? Zhou Yinglong said that it was arranged by the commander. That Ren Xiaosu is too fierce. I thought he looked thin and couldn't fight. But I didn't expect the strength to be so strong. Afterwards, Zhang Jinglin and his subordinates reformulated the action plan. What followed was an uphill battle. After returning to the camp, the heroic deeds of the Sharp Knife Company have long been spread. A lot of ignorant nurse girls was fascinated by Ren Xiaosu's bravery. After seeing Ren Xiaosu, is also full of shyness to go up and talk. I also gave him a gift that I had carefully selected. The teammates on the side suddenly felt sour when they saw this. Why is Ren Xiaosu's woman fate so good? After that, Zhang Jinglin also summoned Ren Xiaosu. He asked, and the Sharp Knife fought 2 tough battles in a row. Not a single one died. It's all your credit. But want to take a company on the battlefield and not die. You know how hard it is. Ren Xiaosu said that it was really difficult. So Zhang Jingling was not angry. I know it's hard and still want to do it. Isn't it stupid? In fact, Ren Xiaosu did not hesitate. But she insisted on doing it anyway, just because she felt it was the right choice. Zhang Jingling couldn't help but sigh at you. I saw contradictions and struggles. It's a lot like when I was younger. Sometimes I wonder if I'm right to insist. But persistence is persistence. It doesn't matter if it's right or not. Don't deny yourself. Life should be like a candle. Burn from start to finish. Always bright. These words also deeply touched Ren Xiaosu. Zhang Jingling asked him where he planned to go after destroying the clan. I can't go back to Fortress 178 in the future. Ren Xiaosu replied that he was going to the Central Plains. Get the $6 back for them. As for whether to return to the 178 fortress, he wasn't sure yet. In fact, Zhang Jingling arranged Ren Xiaosu into the Sharp Knife Lotus. I just want to train him to be a successor. But Zhang Jingling said that he would not stop him from going to the Central Plains. But if he wants to guard something, Fortress 178 must be his best choice. However, Ren Xiaosu didn't know if he listened or not. Said that the commander would not let him go to dinner again. There was nothing to eat. In the canteen, Dan Fan met Ren Xiaosu's soldiers. They all thanked him for saving his life. With the continuous increase of thank you coins, the system also sent a prompt thank you coin. The quantity has been reached. Unlock weapon branches. Whether the entire line is unlocked. Look at the black box in front of you. Ren Xiaosu decisively chose to unlock. When he walked in to check, it turned out to be a sniper rifle inside. The system then also stated that the effective range was 2,800 meters. There is no need to reload bullets. Bullets by heart. According to the line, the type of incendiary or armor-piercing bullet can be changed according to your wishes. To know, the effective range of an average sniper rifle is only 2,300 meters. And this gun is much stronger than a normal sniper rifle. Besides, People are small and have black shadows. It can be said that he has 2 black knives at the same time. 2 sniper rifles. It's for him. In the future, it will be whether it is melee or long range. He has an absolute advantage. Early the next morning, the Sharp Knife Company set off on the road again, and this time it was a covert operation. Ren Xiaosu in order to avoid the clan army along the way, outposts and guerrilla units. He released the Dark Shadow in advance. Let him find his way ahead. However, snipers lurking in the shadows. The location of the shadow was discovered. A single shot blows the shadow's head off. Ren Xiaosu suddenly had a splitting headache and exposed gunfire. Let Sharp Knife Lotus know about the existence of the sniper. Zhang Xiaoman also hurriedly asked the team members to disperse to find cover. Ren Xiaosu's shadow was hit by thunder. I can't reunite my consciousness and want to summon the shadow again. It will take 3 days to wait. However, the situation is now critical. Ren Xiaosu is clear. A sniper who can hit the center of the eyebrows. This marksmanship has to be advanced if it is not a master. He told Zhang Xiaoman. The enemy is about 12 o'clock. The shot was fired at a target 400 meters away. But now what is uncertain? They are out of range of snipers. Zhang Xiaoman's face also became serious after hearing this. So he deliberately sold a flaw. But I didn't expect it. The helmet that was propped up was really blown out. This illustrates their range in snipers. The love of the present. It's a dilemma. Ren Xiaosu's mind can't go on like this. Wait for the enemy to call the guerrillas who come to the clan. But it's troublesome. So he chose to turn on the skill to accelerate. Rushed in the direction of the sniper. Due to the increase in agility, let Ren Xiaosu dodge several bullet shots. This also made the sniper's face full of shock. At this time, Zhang Xiaoman ordered his men to fire mortars. Cover Ren Xiaosu's actions. With the interference of shells, the sniper also lost Ren Xiaosu's position. Ren Xiaosu was also afraid at this time. Fortunately, there was mortar cover. Otherwise, Cui Cheng, who is only 30 seconds, is really not enough. And he pulled out the sniper rifle he had just gotten. Prepare to pull out the snipers who are in ambush. When 2 snipers meet in the wilderness, whoever is exposed first dies first. That's the rule for snipers. This is what Yang Xiaojin once taught him. So Ren Xiaosu found a branch. Wrap it around it briefly and put it on your head. Become an improvised disguise. A sniper versus sniper duel. It's officially started. A sniper who lost Ren Xiaosu's target. At this moment, the B of the 178th Company was also erected. This time he was ready for the task. Now it's just a matter of waiting for the prey to be delivered to the door. And Ren Xiaosu is also a reverse speculation. If you move on yourself, then there is a high probability that it will take this path. Therefore, there is a high probability that the sniper will appear around here. And the guerrilla forces sent by the clan to support them. There is a high probability that she will take the path of the old girl. Thereupon, Ren Xiaosu planted the seeds on this road in advance. Do it all. He began to silently observe the situation in his neighborhood. Not for a while. He also managed to discover the location of the sniper. Now it's just a matter of waiting for him to show up. However, wait until the sun rises. Neither side showed any flaws. Suddenly, there was a scream from behind the sniper. He couldn't help but be shocked in his heart. How could the guerrillas be in the jade seal of the old crow's mouth? Could it be that the people of 178 went around the back? Just when the sniper was distracted, the little tree finds an opportunity. A sniper bullet is fired. But Ren Xiaosu's marksmanship is still as bad as ever. It was instantly detected by a sniper. Ducked his head and ducked. Snipers are also scared for a while. He never thought that there would be snipers in 178. Meanwhile, the old girl rushed to support the guerrilla troops. Attacked by thorny rattans emerging from the soil. And the screaming movement. Also let Ren Xiaosu determine their location. Then the shadow gate opens. A grenade was thrown from inside. This group of guerrilla troops was wiped out in an instant. Hear this. The sniper began to panic inside. How many enemies are lurking in this area? So he immediately called headquarters. Request support. Ren Xiaosu's plan succeeded. Know this sniper. You shouldn't dare to move for a while. So I planned to go to the old girl's mouth to see the battle situation first. Only guerrilla troops were seen. All fell on the way of the old girl. He was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect this to work really well. That sniper hasn't been dealt with yet. But Ren Xiaosu planned to play with him slowly. Late at night, Ren Xiaosu found biscuit crumbs on the ground. I guess that the clan's support should be around here. After that, the clan troops sneaked into the march. I found a pig's hind leg on the ground in the distance. But how could there be such a thing in such a place? The sniper also sensed that something was wrong. Immediately inform everyone that this is a trap. Hurry up and retreat. But it was too late. I saw countless thorny vines sticking out, instantly entwined every soldier. Then there were patches of pea shooters out of the soil, accompanied by the launch of the fruit. All the soldiers who were immobilized by the vines were severely beaten. The sniper was also stunned at the moment. What are these things? But that's not all. I saw a door of shadows suddenly appear in the sky. A few grenades fell, exploded in front of the soldier. The surroundings instantly turned into a sea of fire. The screams were incessant. The sniper looked incredulous. He didn't even know how the other party did it. Let's two guerrillas. It is not clear that he died like this. Now he is the only one who survives. If you just go back, he would also be mistaken for a spy. Thankfully, he decided to give it a go. He no longer hides his figure. Instead, he stood up. When Ren Xiaosu's sniper bullet passed through the hall, he smiled. Because Ren Xiaosu's location has been exposed, another sniper also took the opportunity to shoot. At this time, Ren Xiaosu also discovered the other party's purpose. Just as the bullet was about to hit, he quickly dodged. But the hind leg was still grazed by the bullet. He didn't have time to think. Immediately unleash your skills to destroy the city and flee from this place. And the newly arrived clan sniper kept chasing Ren Xiaosu behind him. At this time, Ren Xiaosu remembered what young Xiaojin had taught him. Don't be afraid of snipers' burst bullets. When a sniper forcibly snipers, when chasing a target moving at high speed, then he was 3 bullets later. The accuracy will be greatly reduced. So he silently calculated in his heart. 1 shot or 2 shots. 3 shots when Ren Xiaosu dodged 3 bullets in a row. It also stopped immediately. Reflexively set up a sniper rifle. Heart. Silently digested the knowledge of firearms that young Xiaojin taught him. The moment you pull the trigger, your heart rate and body temperature, even if it's your sweat glands, obey your will. At that moment, you are only in charge of yourself. To dominate others. This moment, Ren Xiaosu seems to have entered the realm of the unity of man and gun. Bullets shoot out at a rapid pace. A muffled sound sounded in the mountains in the distance. Ren Xiaosu knew he had hit the target. Then I didn't dare to slack off. Immediately found a hidden place. Take out the black medicine and start treating the wound. He didn't know. Will the clan send snipers or guerrillas again? All you can do now is wait quietly for the other party to move. However, it waited until dawn. I didn't see the figure of the clan either. Ren Xiaosu even thought that the clan had given up on this. So he planned to return to rendezvous with the sharp knife lotus. Suddenly, there was movement outside the grass in the distance. Ren Xiaosu doesn't know if he doesn't see it. I was shocked when I saw the whole person. The clan actually sent a regiment of people directly to encircle him. That's too much. At the moment, people and small trees don't care. Thinking about how much you can die. Plant all your seeds in one fell swoop. Seeing that the clan troops are about to fall into a trap. But they stopped in front of them. Then the Spitfire was dispatched. He burned all the open space in front of him. Ren Xiaosu miscalculated this time. It seems that the clan came prepared this time, since the previous method did not work. He also planned to withdraw first. Unexpectedly, the clan would send more than a dozen hunting dogs. That sheer size can even be used as a mount. Ren Xiaosu secretly screamed in his heart that he was in trouble. He had wounds on his body, and the smell of blood is sure to attract the pursuit of the hounds. At this time, the soldiers of the clan were worried that everyone would run away if they searched like this. So the order was given to loosen the reins. Let the hounds chase freely. A hound without limits is like a wild horse on the loose. Frantically rushed towards Ren Xiaosu's position. However, when Ren Xiaosu ran to a mountain, but stopped, because the Sharp Knife Company is in front. He didn't want to lead the Zhong clan to the side of the Sharp Knife Company. So I chose to face it alone. A critical juncture. Bursts of gunfire rang out on the mountain. The hound was beaten, so that he did not dare to advance for half a point. At this time, Zhang Xiaoman emerged from the mountain. Xiaosu, come here. We give it to you. Cover Ren Xiaosu's heart warmed. It turns out that this is what it feels like to have comrades in arms. However, a large number of people came from afar. Made Zhang Xiaoman also bearish. I don't know what Ren Xiaosu is doing. Unexpectedly attracted a regiment of people from the clan to chase and kill. This posture of the clan is completely to destroy the 178 forward troops. Ren Xiaosu proposed to let everyone retreat. But Zhang Xiaoman said that you are so violent. We can't even hold you back. Since it's already like this, then we'll have to do a big vote and then go. Then he ordered Zhao Shaoqin to run in the Haohai Plain. Let's get all ready to fight. After all, the clan came only from guerrilla troops. And they occupy high slopes. They have a big advantage when they hit high and low. Ren Xiaosu was puzzled. The men had already heard the gunshots. I shouldn't rush over and die. However, Zhang Xiaoman sneered at the officers of the clan. The clan has been cowering to the north all these years. There was no decent battle at all. The ability is still far from ours. With the occurrence of mortars, many of the clan soldiers were killed. Finish this shot. Zhang Xiaoman immediately ordered everyone to retreat. They just walked on the front foot. A shell landed where it was before. I have to say, Zhang Xiaoman's command ability is still very strong. The clan suffered another big loss this time. It's night. Zhang Xiaoman laid out the plan. Their goal this time is to go to the Pakwan River to blow up the bridge. Delay the follow-up support of the clan. However, at this time, Zhang Xiaoman received a call from Zhou Yinglong. The latest intelligence shows. In the mountains of the North Bay River, a large number of clan troops were stationed. Even Changwan Mountain, which Zhou Yinglong originally wanted to attack. They have all sent their troops to the Pakwan River. It's all there. It's all due to Ren Xiaosu who made too much noise here. Let the clan mistakenly think that the main force of 178. It is necessary to attack the Pakwan River with all its might. After Zhang Xiaoman learned about it, it was also for Camp Commander Zhou to hurry up and fight Changwan Mountain. Bring back the forces from here. But Zhou Yinglong said, they still have 2 days to reach Changwan Mountain. This time Zhang Xiaoman can be regarded as understanding. If the original plan is carried out, the bridge will be blown up. Then they will face the enemy of success or failure. At this time, Ren Xiaosu on the side spoke. It's all your own fault. Let Zhang Xiaoman give him all the TNT. He went alone to blow up the North Bay Bridge. But Zhang Xiaoman deliberately said that if it weren't for you, we died a long time ago. Let's have something to carry together. To die together. For the honor of the 178 fortress. Zhou Yinglong was also very angry at this time. Lao Tzu's phone hasn't hung up yet. Who are you doing here for? Such a heroic drama has come out. Aren't you ashamed? But Zhou Yinglong also had no tricks. So let them rest for 2 days first. Wait for your side to attract troops. They went to the Pakwan River to blow up the bridge again. Zhang Xiaoman and Ren Xiaosu also had triumphant expressions. Suddenly, a soldier spotted a combat unit coming from the south. The number of people is very large. It looks like it should be Qing's mechanized troops. Zhang Xiaoman heard that it was Qing's person. Also hurriedly asked everyone to retreat. Don't fight the Qing clan. Ren Xiaosu said that they didn't necessarily come to beat us. Probably came for me. It also left other people with circles on their faces. Why did the Qing family look for him? Then, a Qing soldier stepped forward to greet Ren Xiaosu. This is the Tangzhou of the Qing clan. Sure enough, it's an acquaintance. Lai Qingji guessed that they wanted to blow up the North Bay Bridge. But there are a lot of defenders here. Luo Fatsi was worried that Ren Xiaosu would have an accident. So he sent them over to help. Tangzhou also said that Boss Luo said, "You and he have had a lifelong friendship. It's not once or twice. If 178 doesn't succeed in hitting the clan, then he will come to the north to help you fight. After the fight, send someone downstream to help you find your friends." Ren Xiaosu also knew about Luo Fatsi after hearing this. Intentions to wait for the war to end. He'll definitely go to the 111 barrier. Zhang Xiaoman also immediately contacted Zhou Yinglong when he learned of this. Plans have changed. He asked Zhang Xiaoman and them to go to Qingwen Mountain immediately. Fight with the front wind to play the defensive support point. The next day, when I was on my way, instead, they were attacked by the enemy. The soldier who rushed to the front was shot with a single shot. He hurriedly reminded that it was not an ambush. It's an encounter. The opposing side has a company. Leave me alone. Contact before the storm surrounds them. Zhang Xiaoman immediately reminded Ren Xiaosu not to be impulsive. The other side guards the narrow terrain of the mountain pass. If you rush over and save people like this, may be caught by the other party. However, Ren Xiaosu couldn't manage so much. He stood up and said, "I can't miss a single thing I've said." Then he activates his skills. Cui Cheng rushed towards the wounded. Seeing this, the enemy on the opposite side immediately opened fire. With the blessing of Cui Cheng, Ren Xiaosu risked his life. The wounded were saved. Several grenades were also thrown out before leaving. Covers the wound with enemy fire. Seeing this, Zhang Xiaoman also ordered a fierce attack. The battle is over. Ren Xiaosu was also shot. But the medic looked at the wound. "But I was amazed that your muscles were too strong. The bullet actually only hit an inch. It's just copper." And Zhang Xiaoman stayed by the wounded. I was filled with emotion. 178 people. Since I was a child, I felt that it was an honor to be able to die on the battlefield. But if you really have a choice, who wants to die in a place where such birds don't? He thought that he might not be able to go back when he came out this time. But Ren Xiaosong is a little madman. Even said that he would take us all to live. At this time, the wounded also said, "I like this madman. As his comrade in arms, I can't help but feel honored to hit it." Zhang Xiaoman also agrees. "Maybe he'll be our new commander. Then we are all history. Witnesses." At this time, Zhao Xiaoqian was also proud. "We've wiped out all 4 clan companies. There are no inspectors yet. Even the bullshit Flying Eagle Company of the Reconnaissance Battalion can't do it either." This is also the first time Ren Xiaosu has heard of the Flying Eagle Company. Zhang Xiaoman explained. The Flying Eagle Company is also a company in 178. They and we have always been submissive to anyone. But the top 10 of the whole army competition. Basically, they are all non-Eagle companies. But they're grabbing. It's not like we're going to give them the lead. Zhao Xiaoqian also complained at this time. None of them have their real names. What else to code? What a big head. Never mind. Ren Xiaosu said that since he was not happy to see them replace the number, then we can replace the number. Zhang Xiaoqian thought for a moment, then I will call the clan dead. Zhang Xiaoman also echoed. My code name is Dream Death Eagle. Abundance. You see that you are lying on the shelf now. It's like a vegetative person. You can call it a vegetative person. Rich was speechless. Everyone laughed happily. At this time, Zhang Xiaoman asked Ren Xiaosu what code name he wanted to call. Ren Xiaosu said, My code name is Thank You. Just call me Thank You in the future. But it was as if they hadn't heard anything. They all turned to leave. Zhang Xiaoman also told everyone to move on. Ren Xiaosu just talked to death. Messy in the wind alone. Is that how you are comrades in arms? Can't you just call me by my code name? After that, Zhou Yinglong also called Zhang Xiaoman. Inform him that he is about to arrive at Strong Bay Mountain. Let them infiltrate into the rear of the enemy. Destroy the harbor and ships behind Xiangwan Mountain. A day later, the Sharp Knife Company also went around to the east side of Xiangwan Mountain. However, it was surveyed. It was found that there were no soldiers stationed. Only one company was moving to the ship. So Zhang Xiaoman decided not to wait. Get started right away. At this time, the enemy was still moving things. When they found 178 people, it's already too late. Zhao Xiaoqian blasted out as soon as the cannon was fired. The ship also exploded. Zhang Xiaoman also shot wildly on the side. Kill nearby enemies one by one. But at this moment, Zhou Yinglong made an emergency call. Ask them if they are at the port. Zhang Xiaoman is proudly reporting. They have taken the port down. But Zhou Yinglong's roar came from the other end of the phone. Let them evacuate quickly. Said that the main force was turning towards the port. Zhang Xiaoman was numb when he heard this. Zhou Yinglong, your uncles. Why didn't you say this kind of thing earlier? He immediately shouted to the team to pack up and retreat. However, Komatsu, a man who doesn't know anything, still calmly blowing up the ship. It means that there is only one last ship left. Evacuate after the bombing. Zhang Xiaoman exclaimed to stop. Don't blow it up, leave us one. Before anyone could react to anything, the whole person was dragged up by Zhang Xiaoman. We escaped by boat. All other roads are blocked. At this time, a large number of main forces arrived. And yet there are so many of them. But no one could sail. Zhang Xiaoman immediately prepared to go in and try it. It means that it won't be at this time. If the ship doesn't move, we'll die. With Zhang Xiaoman's random press, the ship actually started. But I want to sail a boat. It was also necessary to cut the rope on the shore of the port. But the outside is already surrounded by enemies. If you go out, I'm afraid you'll be shot to death. At this time, Ren Xiaosu thought of an idea. He opens the door of shadow. Then he took out his knife and kicked it hard. The rope was actually cut. The soldiers guarding the outside were stunned. I could only watch the ship sail smoothly from the shore. However, the soldiers of the Sharp Knife Company were seasick. Dizzy. Spit rainbows. Zhang Xiaoman wanted to call for help, only to find out that the contact radio station was there. Hit by a bullet in the battle just now. It's already damaged. Now they are really alone. Night. Zhang Xiaoman found Ren Xiaosu alone on the deck in a daze. So he stepped forward and asked him what he was thinking. Ren Xiaosu said he was wondering where the ship would drift. Zhang Xiaoman replied if he drifted to the north shore. That's the clan's territory. But Ren Xiaosu comforted them not to worry. He has taken everyone to live a lot. And now the first thing to solve is the food problem. Thereupon, Ren Xiaosu took out a large amount of food from the storage space. This is all on the way to suppress bandits before. Xiaoyu prepared it for him. I didn't expect it to come in handy now. He fed everyone. Take good care of your stamina. After that, it really went to the territory of the clan. They can also fight their way out. However, a day passed. The ship did not even show signs of docking. Many of the soldiers were already seasick and vomiting. They even felt, it's better to stay on shore. Fight to the death with those clan soldiers. And so on. Maybe everyone vomited to death because of seasickness. That's embarrassing. Thankfully, a few hours later, they saw the coast. And there are no lights and no buildings on the shore. It shows that they did not break into the territory of the clan. So they decided to disembark. After disembarking from the boat, everyone began to discuss where to go next. At this time, Zhang Xiaoman proposed not to go back. Even if I go back, I can only watch others take the handiwork. It's better to take advantage of this opportunity to play big. So Ren Xiaosu came up with an idea. Right now, the forces of the clan will definitely gather on the front line of Wuchuan Mountain. Then they will take advantage of the emptiness in the back of the clan. Go and sneak up on their northern industrial forces. This idea was approved by Zhang Xiaoman. Maybe they'll be able to take advantage of it. Snatch the palace guard. So they started planning. First knock out the clan which factories compare. Good. However, Ren Xiaosu said at this time, fight them all. This bold idea surprised Zhang Xiaoman. Although this matter is dangerous, there is also a possibility that they will be hunted down by the clan. But there is Ren Xiaosu, a transcendent person. It's all really possible. So Zhang Xiaoman decided to give it a go. Brothers, we don't have any reinforcements this time. One way to the dark. There's no turning back. If I die, remember to bring back my big molars. However, after hearing this, Ren Xiaosu said that you had better not die. Otherwise, I'll knock out all your teeth. Choose another good-looking one to take away. As he spoke, Ren Xiaosu released the black shadow. Send him to the front to find the way. Don't be fooled. This handsome man's appearance is deceived. He's the legendary devil whisperer, one that can be hypnotized with just words, and the ability to manipulate thousands. When Li Shintan learned, Ren Xiaosu followed the 178 barrier to fight the sect. It is also known he definitely didn't want to let go of anyone from the clan. So in order to prevent someone from the clan from wanting to go to the Central Plains to hide, Li Shintan, it is on the way for the clan to go to the Central Plains. Squatted for 3 days. I'm going to catch some fish for him. At this time, Xiao Silly asked a little cutely, where are these people arrested? Li Shintan explained helplessly, I'm just playing metaphors. In fact, they are going to kill him. Suddenly, the roar of a car engine could be heard in the distance. After Li Shintan saw that it was the clan's vehicle, I was also immediately excited. Finally squatted for him. He turned around and told Xiao Silly, let him not let anyone go. Xiao Silly nodded in agreement. Then the whole person quickly rose into the air. He waved his left hand. More than a dozen tons of iron boxes rose from the ground. He easily carried it on his back. However, he was just about to fly over and do it, only to find a scene that surprised him, a steam train. The car appeared out of thin air. Then he slammed into the clan's vehicle. The huge impact force instantly shattered and deformed the vehicle. I'm afraid that the people inside are also more auspicious. This scene made Li Shintan also unexpected. Why is there still someone cutting off the beard halfway? Nonsense was also puzzled. Could it be someone who is looking for revenge from the clan? I saw the steam train turn its head, crashed into the vehicle behind the clan. Under the violent impact, all vehicles were knocked off. The occupants of the car also vomited blood, but the dust dispersed. Wang Tsongyang's figure walked out from behind. He came to the soldiers of the clan, said go back and tell the kid in Zongqing. The previous feud is not over yet. In the future, there will be kung fu, and you will be counted. Now it's a bit of interest. Then he turned away with his purse. Pick up the gold scattered on the ground. Then it was all put into a leather bag. Afterwards, Wang Chongyang thanked them and thanked them for not interfering. This gold was the property of the clan transferred to the Central Plains. I can only take half of it. The rest is yours. After speaking, Wang Chongyang turned his head and left. Li Shintan hurriedly stopped him. We also have a grudge against the clan. Or you stay. How about we kill the people of the clan together? But Wang Chongyang has always been alone, and did not promise. And Li Shintan was not forced. He introduced to himself, seeing each other as fate. My name is Li Shintan. I don't know what your name is, brother. Hear the name. Wang Chongyang instantly broke out in a cold sweat. It turns out that he is the legendary demon and the remnant. Wang Chongyang hurriedly excused himself. I'm just a nobody. Nothing to speak of. Li Shintan saw him like this. I couldn't help but ask, have you heard my name? The daimyo of the demon whisperer. How could I not have heard of it? Wang Chongyang said tremblingly, while summoning a train. Jumped up. Then he drove the train away as if fleeing for his life. Li Shintan and the others were left stunned here. Is it really so scary to circle yourself? Then he twisted his hands. The time and space in front of him were distorted. As the space expands, a clan jeep was moved by him. It turns out that there is also a survivor of the clan inside. Li Shintan asked him to call the clan to report. Let's just say a transcendent person who can control a steam train. Attacked them. He also took all the gold. After the soldiers heard his words, eyes glazed. Follow the instructions of the altar of Li as the end. Wait until he finishes calling. Li Shintan told him to cut himself off. The soldier did not hesitate in the slightest. Choose to die headlong on a rock. At this time, in the Qingshi military camp, Luo Fatsi actually molested the secretary of the celebration in public. Qingji warned him loudly. But Luo Fatman still has to inch in. Frightened, the secretary also fled. Qing diagnosis does not have a good airway, Ren Xiaosu. I'm running out of black medicine for you. See what you do then. Luo Fatsi suddenly became annoyed. When Tang Zhou was sent to find him, I forgot to ask him for black medicine. Qingji reminded coldly. Ren Xiaosu is now carrying a sharp knife. Lien continued north. If he's not careful, I'm afraid you won't have black medicine in your life. Luo Fatsi was also anxious when he heard it. Hurriedly asked why Xiaosu wanted to go to the north. It's all clan troops. Qingjin guessed. Either he was forced to go north, or simply want revenge. A transcendent being. The determination to take revenge must not be underestimated. After all, this is the time of the rise of the gods. Then Qingzhan was helpless. As a result, there are two transcendent beings around us. One still loves money. Zhou Qi was speechless after hearing this. You can just report my ID card. What's wrong with loving money? Then he returned to the topic. Denote. Ren Xiaosu's current ability to be exposed has yet to be determined. Qingzhen thinks that he is going north this time. I'm afraid it will make the clan very heady. Luo Fatsi asked. Where will Ren Xiaosu go? Qingji picked up a flag. No matter where you go. He eventually. I will definitely stand in front of the hyenas of the clan in person. Then Qingji called his men. Notify them. If someone lurking in the clan encounters it, he secretly assisted. Compared to the clan, Qingji prefers to be neighbors with the people of the 178 barriers. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu led the sharp knife lotus. Arrive at a famous settlement. However, their military uniforms stand out, so they sneaked into the room where no one was around. Then the general of the unification was summoned. At this time, Ren Xiaosu heard the movement outside. Someone seems to have returned. They silently set up an ambush. Ren Xiaosu opened the crack in the door. It's just an ordinary homeless person. Then he opened the doorway. Uncle. We are homeless people passing by. You have nothing to eat. But the uncle is still you. The uncle could see at a glance that they were not Lu Ming. After all, how could Lu Ming carry a cannon? This also blew Zhang Xiaoman up. Taught Jiao Shaochen a hard lesson. The uncle looked at them as tall and big, judging by the fact that they don't look like they're from the south. Suddenly, the uncle seemed to think of something. Immediately asked the sir, is it from the 178 barrier? Ren Xiaosu nodded in acquiescence. After hearing this, the uncle, excitedly grabbing his hand, you're finally here. Our people here want you to come. Subsequently, Uncle said with tears in his eyes that if you came earlier, our young people here will not be captured and confiscated. You should quickly destroy the clan. The soldiers looked at each other. Apparently did not expect this to be the case. Ren Xiaosu asked about the uncle, which is the nearest barrier in this vicinity. The uncle said that it was about 60 kilometers to the west. Its barrier 144. Zhang Xiaoman was surprised. We were on the edge of barrier 144. This is the granary of the clan. Ren Xiaosu asked Uncle. There is also food here. Uncle Imo said that it was all confiscated by the clan. Even those who were secretly hidden were turned out. So much so that he could only take his granddaughter with him. Go out every day to dig wild vegetables and eat. After hearing this, Zhang Xiaoman said that it didn't matter. Let's go blow up the factory. So many workers in the factory. There's definitely a lot of food. So he commanded the people to go on. Finding a military uniform and finding food are two things to solve together. At night, the Sharp Knife Company successfully arrived at the copper smelter of the 144th barrier, and Ren Xiaosu led the team to prepare to sneak and raid the past. But what I didn't expect was that, when they kick the door and want to make a big play. Seeing this, the soldiers inside immediately knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Ren Xiaosu didn't expect it. These people have no spirit of resistance. He asked the men to hand over the grain. But what was served was a moldy nest. Lu Ming said, "That's what they usually eat in the factory." Ren Xiaosu didn't feel good in his heart when he saw it. It turned out that Lu Ming lived this kind of life. Although the Qing family is also a consortium, also squeezed Lu Ming. But at least Lu Ming can eat enough in the factory. At this time, Zhang Xiaoman broke open his nest head, exclaimed, "There was even wheat husk mixed here. Won't this thing die if you eat it?" Lu Ming said that it was already very good to be alive. At this time, Ren Xiaosu also understood. This is probably the case with nearby factories. If you want to find food, you can only ask for it from the people of the clan. But there was also a regiment of defenders in the 144 ramparts. So he proposed to go and fight the convoy of the clan. 2 days later, the office of the head of the clan. A soldier is reporting 144 barriers defeated by the enemy. According to their analysis, the opposing side was a company of 178 fortress. The head of the regiment was amazed when he heard this, then immediately ordered, "Let the commander of a company lead the team to clear this company. Ensure the safety of the rear supply line." Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu and others were distributing grain in the factory. Food. Everyone who received food expressed their gratitude. Seeing this, Ren Xiaosu exclaimed in surprise and lost 100 million. "I already knew that I was going to distribute food," Zhang Xiaonan said. "Now the defenders of the 144 ramparts. They must be hunted for on a large scale." Ren Xiaosu was not worried at all. He can use the dark shadow to judge the armament of the clan in advance. As long as there is a chance, you can fight. The next few days, the clan kept scattering the company to search for the Sharp Knife Company. But 2 companies were wiped out in one day, and none survived. Not even the body of the Sharp Knife Company was found. See this in one fell swoop. The head of the clan also judged. The company of the 178 fortress must have transcendentals. The regimental commander was killed instantly by a sniper rifle. And Xiao Su, the person who was ambushed in the distance, was also relieved. "I wanted to try my luck here. I didn't expect to be hit by him. I don't know who was so unlucky to be hit by him." How strong is the master-level firearm skill? Ren Xiaosu had just upgraded his skill level. I saw a clan off-road vehicle driving in the distance. He didn't hesitate to pull out his sniper rifle, instantly aim for a high-speed off-road vehicle. With a gunshot rang out. An incendiary bomb flew towards the vehicle. Sokyo in the car was killed instantly. As the son of the 4th chamber of the clan, I wanted to take this opportunity to personally arrest the 178 company. Grab the credit. But he didn't expect that he was born to die first. Everyone saw Ren Xiaosu put away the sniper rifle out of thin air, shocked to think that this was his 3rd ability. But Ren Xiaosu was secretly happy. The improvement of his firearm skills allows him to fight whenever he wants. Stop at nothing. Meanwhile, a soldier in the clan command battalion, shocked to report the news of Zhang Qiang's death. The commander was also furious when he heard this. Immediately ordered the reconnaissance battalion to be sent to dungeon 144. It is bound to make this 178 fortress force have no return. Early the next morning, detectives who came in, Battalion Commander Cha, also rushed to the scene of the incident. At a glance, you can determine the direction of the sniper's shot. He then ordered his men to search the hillside. Under the aggressive search of the reconnaissance battalion, they found food scraps scattered on the ground, and the footprints left behind by the enemy. The reconnaissance battalion searched from morning to night, but he lost his trace by a stream. Right now, the reconnaissance battalion commander received a call, told about 3 military factories near the 145 barrier. It was attacked by that 178 company. It dawned on him. I've been tricked. For this, there was already a lot of noise in the clan command camp. The commander salivated angrily. Just want to catch them right away. All of them were shot. After several days of searching, The reconnaissance battalion also managed to discover the traces of the 178 company. But I didn't think about it. They had long been aware of the shadows lurking in the shadows. The overall strength of this reconnaissance battalion, than the previous Xiaosu and the clan soldiers they killed. It's a lot stronger. I'm afraid there are snipers in it. Faced with this situation, Ren Xiaosu obviously didn't intend to be tough head-on. He chose to march at full speed. Return to Barrier 144 while they are in front of them. But they didn't get far. The enemy pursued him. Zhang Xiaoman immediately prepared to fight directly. You can face evenly matched enemies. It is too risky to go to war rashly. Ren Xiaosu didn't dare to use the shadow to drag them anymore. I'm afraid that the shadow will be hit again by the Thunder Star. So he opened the shadow gate, going to sneak up on a wave. Unexpectedly, the reconnaissance battalion reacted quickly. The muzzle of the gun was immediately aimed at the goal. Let Ren Xiaosu have no chance to throw thunder at all. Seeing that the enemy has already attacked, Zhang Xiaoman sees death as home. Planned to desperately cover Ren Xiaosu's evacuation with the company. But Ren Xiaosu stopped him. Do you just want to die? Don't worry, I'm here this time. It's hard for you to die. Ren Xiaosu immediately summoned steaming. The steam train saw that everyone was shocked. That's too strong, isn't it? How many abilities does this kid have? Ren Xiaosu stretched out his hand and invited him indifferently. Guys, get in the car. I'll take you for a ride. Seeing the 178th Company leave by train, the commander of the reconnaissance battalion scolded angrily. You've already used this ability. We chased for 2 days in vain. Ability to disdain. To appear that you are approachable. Meanwhile, everyone in the train was amazed. It was the first time they had taken a train ride. Subsequently, Ren Xiaosu deliberately increased the speed of the train. Let them experience the feeling of a roller coaster. Soon they were around 144. However, a clan transport vehicle appeared in front of him. The appearance of a whole 2 companies. Ren Xiaosu is worried that he doesn't have much dryness. You can use them to practice your hands. So he increased his speed and rushed over. How cool it is to fight in a train with its own tracks. Clan soldiers drive on the plains. But I saw a train in the rearview mirror. Are chasing them. The soldier hurriedly reported to the commander, but did not believe him. But the moment he poked his head out to check, but his jaw dropped in shock. It's so small that it opened his eyes with his ass. The soldiers in the back seat saw this. Immediately set up the machine gun and fired nonstop at the train. But when the train is parallel to the vehicle, there were several swarthy barrels sticking out of the window. Shoot at the clan soldiers. After the fight, Ren Xiaosu found that the transport truck was full of soldiers. There are no supplies. So I didn't stay long. Immediately turn around the train and run. The heat in the carriage was unbearable. This battle was also too cool. The enemy was defeated without even seeing any of them. However, at this time, the clan command camp exploded, repeatedly provoked by the people of the 178 fortress. No one can bear it. So he was responsible for holding the important position of Wuchuan Mountain. Directly planned to withdraw troops to deal with the 178 fortress, in order to get rid of the aftermath as soon as possible. Commander of the front, Zheng Yin. I also plan to send 2 more transcendents. Accompanied Zheng Wu's 131st Brigade to the 144th Barrier. The Qing dynasty dispatched, just to get that 178 fortress troops. All of them died on the territory of the clan. Meanwhile, 178 Barrier Command Battalion. When the news of the withdrawal of the 131 Brigade was learned, I thought it was a conspiracy of the clan. But Zhang Jinglin guessed. It's a sharp knife lotus. It caused a lot of trouble to the rear of the clan. After all, they were the only ones in the rear of the clan. So Zhang Jingling planned to press up all over the line. Give the clan enough pressure on the frontal battlefield. They can't draw their forces to deal with Sharp Knife Lotus. When everybody is anxious, Sharp Knife Lotus is leisurely eating grilled fish, while discussing where to fight next. After all, 144 walls are nearby. At most, they have to leave with 1 more vote. That before leaving, one of the most important factories of the clan must be destroyed. Zhang Xiaoman proposed to take down their garment factory. Let the soldiers on the front line have no clothes to wear. Shame them off. Immediately afterwards, it was proposed to destroy the shoe factory. After all, there are no shoes to wear. Fighting a war will be awkward. This must have had a great impact on the soldiers. The crowd was speechless for a while. Only those who take the bamboo shoots can come up with this way. At this time, Zhao Xiaochen thought of it. A factory that has a great influence on the clan. That's the refinery. Because the clan has a lot of mechanized troops. If there is less gasoline and diesel, mechanized troops became a pile of scrap metal. After listening to this, Ren Xiaosu felt very reasonable. Immediately said that he would leave early tomorrow morning. Go and knock down the sect's oil refinery. When departing the next day, Ren Xiaosu chose to take the only way for the transport team. I'm going to grab some more food and drink on the way. At this time, there was a deafening sound outside the car. He observed. In the distance, several tanks were on the move. The clan sent an armored donkey to beat them with a company. It's just unaffordable. Seeing this, Ren Xiaosu didn't say a word. Run straight on the train. Prepare for a detour to hunt the oil mill. A day later, the Chinese soldiers hurriedly reported to the commander. Call that 178 troops in one day. 3 oil refineries were destroyed. When the commander heard this, his face immediately changed. But the soldier said, it was all cooking oil factories that were destroyed. The commander speculated that the target of Unit 178 should be a crude oil plant. It's just that they may be in the wrong place. So he immediately ordered the alert level to be raised. Meanwhile, the movement of the Sharp Knife Company was also discovered. Everyone was puzzled. They clearly left no trace. How did the other party find them? But before they could escape, a transcendent member of the clan came to the door. That powerful aura directly made Xiaosu's heart tremble. Instant cold sweat flowed. This is a transcendent with super defensive skills. A golden shield emerges in front of him. Can ignore bullet fire. However, he would never have thought of it until he died. One day, he would be stabbed to death with a knife. Ren Xiaosu uses the Shadow Gate. Hit the other party by surprise. He couldn't help but complain. This clan is transcendent. Why don't you look very smart? Due to their location being exposed. Ren Xiaosu also immediately took everyone to the car and left. At this time, the clan commander was angry. What bullshit transcendent? I didn't even hold on for 3 seconds. Then he looked at the other transcendent behind him. You won't be a waste, will you? Go Yeyu said that he was definitely better than him. It's just that I'm good at finding other transcendents. And not fighting. Thereupon, the commander asked him where Ren Xiaosu was running now. He explained that his abilities could only be used 3 times a day, and the range cannot exceed 100 kilometers. And those 3 opportunities have been used up today. The commander was furious. Good guys, that's another one. Waste it this time. On a steam train. Yuan Xiaosu also guessed. The clan may have transcendents who are good at tracking. And any ability will have a conditionality. Like his shadow and the Door of Shadows. The maximum handling range is only 1 kilometer. So he concluded. There must have been a distance limit for this transcendent. So he immediately sped up. Try to get rid of the clan tracking. And yet they were on the way. Unexpectedly ran into a lone clan off-road vehicle. Ren Xiaosu also stopped him immediately. Asked him about the current situation of the 144 barrier. The soldier said that there was only so much left of the original 144 barrier defenders. Now half of them have lost it. It's currently unmanaged. Hear this. Ren Xiaosu also thought of the next plan. They decided to break through the 144 barriers. Faced with machine gun fire from high walls, Ren Xiaosu also chose to take the hard test. And the violent backlash also made him cough up a mouthful of blood. After breaking into the ramparts, their target is the granary. Ren Xiaosu called Zhang Xiaoman. Tell him about the plan. They just need to keep the fire in the car unstoppable. Burn the granary on the line. So the sharp knife and the Spitfire gun were in everyone's hands. Stand in the window of the car and shoot fire. The granary was also quickly set ablaze by the fire. The clan soldiers were shocked when they saw this. Want to put out the fire, only to find that the fire was too big, completely unsavable. And Ren Xiaosu and they are not in love with war. After lighting the fire, it will slip away. The clan command learned of this. I was so angry that I was thundering. They have already dispatched an armored aluminum and 2 transcendent pursuits. Even let the other party under his nose. Burned down 144 barriers. This time, the clan was obviously in a hurry. It was decided not to leave behind. Start planning ahead of time. Meanwhile, supplies for 178 fortresses were being delivered on the black market and pontoons. Suddenly, a group of ships came to sea. The soldiers of Unit 178 saw that it was the ship of the clan. Fire immediately. Interception can be due to the excessive number of ships. The black market and the pontoon bridge were still blown up by the clan boats. The bridge was the supply line on which the 178 fortress depended. Now it's been blown up. Fortress 178 has been turned into an island. There is no one to rescue. Trace looked at the scene in front of him with satisfaction. 7 more days. The Grandmaster's army will be able to pass through the Gobi. Arrive at Fortress 178. Taoist. He wanted to see with his own eyes where the reckless men could go. At this time, the commander of the 178 fortress was anxious. The clan attacked and blew up the bridge overnight. It is estimated that someone will be sent to the 178 wall. At present, the defenders of the barrier may not be able to hold it. They had to find a way to get back quickly. But Zhang Jingming understood. Even if we are to build a pontoon bridge now, it will take 10 days. And it takes 7 days for them to avoid it. It's too late to count the time. That's when it happened. The Sharp Knife Company finally contacted Fortress 178. Zhang Xiaoman used the phone snatched from the 144 barrier. They began to show off their recent exploits. However, Zhou Yinglong said that he had no time to chat with him. Now the 178 fortress is in critical condition. Zhang Xiaoman hid after learning of the situation. They dare to fight our 178 fortress. We can also go and fight them 146B. After all, the hunting dogs and power in the clan are all inside. Just kill them. The clan immediately panicked. Zhou Yinglong felt that he was not confused. The 146 barrier now has a rate. The Sharp Knife Company is no match at all. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu snatched the phone. Seriously, Mr. Zhang. Still listening. I asked if breaking down the 146 barrier would help the battle. Zhang Jinglin hesitated for a moment and replied yes. But the difficulty of the 146 barriers. Far more than any of your previous battles. Ren Xiaosu said. Remember what you asked me before? There are things that we know are impossible. It can even hurt. I have to do it. It's stupid. But do you remember how I answered? Bravery, too. After saying this, Ren Xiaosu hung up the phone. He has his own decisions. He called everyone to get into the car first. Discussions began on a plan to deal with the 146 barrier in the car. He asked the captured clan soldier, how is the combat effectiveness of the 146 barrier? Only to learn. They are one of the most elite troops in the clan. The gear is all the latest and greatest. The clan soldiers said that they were strong though. But going to fight the 146 barrier is no different from sending it to death. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu stopped the car. Hurriedly urged everyone to get out of the car and fight. However, after the sharp knife and everyone rushed out of the car, only to find that there was no one in front of him. Where is the need to fight? Seeing Ren Xiaosu start the steam train and drive away, Zhang Xiaoman reacted. Ren Xiaosu was afraid that it would be too dangerous to go to the 146 barrier, so deliberately keep them in a safe place. I'm going to go to the 146 barrier by myself. And at this time, the entrance of the 146 barriers. A group of soldiers is strictly checking the entrances and exits. Ren Xiaosu hid in the distance and secretly observed. thinking about how to slip into the barrier. But he found that the clan soldiers were checking too carefully. It is unlikely that you want to hide in the convoy and go ahead of the barrier. So he planned to climb the ramparts. Because he noticed, there is a 1-minute shift change time for the castle headguard. This 1-minute gap was enough for him to roll in. Wait until the garrison at the head of the city changes shifts. Ren Xiaosu, who had put on makeup, quietly flipped up. He named the operation a decapitation. The goal is to paralyze the top of the clan entirely. He wandered the streets, trying to find the location of the top of the clan. At this time, an old fortune teller came up to him. The moment the two made eye contact, the old gentleman grabbed him. Ren Xiaosu, who was already highly vigilant, turning around is a grappling, pressing people against the wall. What do you do? The boy meets the fortune teller, but he didn't look for him to count his birthday. Instead, let him count too. The secondary function can't be calculated. Accused him of being a charlatan. I don't know. What is the shadow area of the fortune teller's mind at this moment? Seeing that he can't figure it out, Ren Xiaosu turned around and planned to leave. But the fortune teller suddenly said, I look at your face. There should be a younger brother in his life who is better than his relatives. But there is no blood relationship. Hear this. Ren Xiaosu was stunned. Isn't this exactly what he picked up Yin Luyuan? Of course, he didn't believe that it was calculated by the old gentleman. It only shows that this person knows himself. So he pressed the old gentleman to ask who he was. But the old gentleman did not answer. It's just self-directed. I also see that you were in danger when you were a teenager. But I'm afraid you don't even know it yourself. How to escape from danger? The land of your great prosperity is in the northwest. If you still don't believe me, I can't help it. Ren Xiaosu's heart was fluctuating at the moment. Few people know about his past. Besides, he escaped from the wolf's mouth inexplicably. He knows it all. Could he really be a fortune teller? Ren Xiaosu, in order to find out. The choice let him go. You said that I had a bloody disaster in the past 2 days. Then you can figure out how to resolve it for me. So the old gentleman leaned in and took a closer look at the face. Suddenly, he looked shocked, pointing at Ren Xiaosu and shouting, You have a bloody disaster. You're going to bring blood and light to others. Ren Xiaosu secretly touched nearly 146 barriers. It's just about looking for the top of the clan. Then a decapitation program was implemented. Seeing that it was broken by the old gentleman, suddenly my heart was empty. As the old gentleman explored more deeply, his expression gradually became shocked. He had never seen so many people forking in the road. If you continue to calculate it, you may be counterattacked. So he hurriedly shook his hand and said that it couldn't be counted. Then he turned around and walked away. However, Ren Xiaosu was reluctant to let him go. You help me figure out who I'm looking for. You can't figure it out. You can't leave today. Looked at Ren Xiaosu's gloomy expression. The fortune teller did not dare to hold back in the slightest. The person you're looking for is in this barrier. Northeast direction. They will get together in the next 10 days. But you only get one chance. That's all that is said and done. He fled with a crawl. Ren Xiaosu also turned around and left satisfied. He wondered if there really was a fortune teller in this world. Or is he actually a transcendent being? And the sharp knife lotus that was thrown by Ren Xiaosu. At this moment, it is also heading towards the 146 barrier. They are not a bad breed. I also want to do my part to help Ren Xiaosu. However, on the way, instead, they met the armored woman of the clan. Fortunately, the group did not notice him. Instead, they headed in the direction of the Central Plains. However, the altar of Li has been blocked on the only way for the clan to go to the Central Plains. Originally, he was worried that he couldn't help people. As a result, an armored brigade was sent to the door. I saw him raise his finger. Huge rocks rise from the ground. Directly destroy the armored car in front of you. Face the giants that suddenly appeared. Armored vehicles also stopped. The clan soldiers understood. They had met the transcendent. And Li Shantan is also preparing to step forward at this moment. Bring this armored brigade under hypnosis control. Little Shrieg asked him. Need to get people out of armored vehicles. After all, how to hypnotize in the car. Li Shintan said that the voice can also be hypnotic. I saw him shoot the stone out of his hand. Hit on armored vehicles. Make a bang. With the continuous propagation and diffusion of sound. In a moment, the soldiers in the armored vehicle were all hypnotized. Control so many people at once. Li Shintan also felt a little unbearable. He called 131 battles and repeatedly hit the palm. Then give him the command, and hear the snap of his fingers. Then you will slay 146 barriers. After breaking through the barriers, kill only those of the clan. Do not use machinery. Do not kill innocents indiscriminately. After that, you cut yourself. With a snap of the fingers of the altar. Truffle turned and led the group away, who said with relief when he stood aside, "You didn't kill innocents indiscriminately this time." Since witnessing Qin's invincible incident, Li Shintan's heart began to change gradually. Some people are like a giant fire. Even if you leave, there will always be something left behind. Meanwhile, Zhang Jingling found out the spies inside the 178 sample competition. He felt a little guilty at the moment. Because of spies. The news that Ren Xiaosu has been successfully sent to the 146 barrier. Passed out. Now Ren Xiaosu has gone deep into the 146 barrier alone. I'm afraid it will be more than lucky. But Zhang Jingming chose to believe him. He's not an impulsive guy who doesn't know what to do. Now they just have to wait for a miracle. The boy is on a secret assassination mission. Unexpectedly, his whereabouts were leaked by spies. The entire street was plastered with a wanted warrant for him. When he found out, he didn't panic at all. On the contrary, he looked unhappy. I'm so powerful. It's only worth 200,000 yards. At this time, several soldiers came up to him. He deliberately lowered the brim of his hat and walked over. But the soldiers stopped him on the spot. Raise your head and show your face. Seeing this, Ren Xiaosu immediately pulled out his legs and ran. The soldiers immediately called for support. He fled all the way. But I can't get rid of it. The distance was almost hit by a bullet. When he rolled over from a wall. But there were exactly 2 soldiers in front of him. Don't be honest. Ren Xiaosu saw this. Press on the ground with one hand. A black shadow immediately emerged along the ground. 2 soldiers were controlled in an instant. Before the soldiers could react, he had already rolled over the heads of the 2. The moment of air dominance. He quickly removed his hat, slid at the necks of both men. When he lands, the soldier also fell to the ground with a bang. Lost life. But he didn't wait for him to slow down. The pursuers in the rear rushed to him again. Constant shooting. Ren Xiaosu jumped, ran into a residential building. The soldier was preparing to report to his superiors. The other party is a transcendent. But that's not the end of the story. Ren Xiaosu came out again, and came a flying kick. His transcendent identity is revealed. It's sure to attract more pursuers. Now he can only use all means to break through the encirclement, in order to fight a way out. At this time, a large number of clan soldiers gathered on the streets. Ren Xiaosu ran wildly in the streets and alleys, constantly dodging the pursuit of the soldiers. He makes use of the shadow, dodged many deadly bullets in the air. He then reflexively fired 2 shots. 2 soldiers were killed, but there are too many pursuers. After playing a pair, there is another pair. When he has no way out, the manhole cover on the street was removed. Then he stretched out a hand, motioned for him to come over quickly. At this time, the chasing soldier was completely unaware of the movement under his feet. Instead, he was attracted by the black shadow that climbed over the wall and went down the well. Ren Xiaosu was pinching the people who helped him evade the pursuit. "Who are you?" the man said in horror. "Boss Luo asked me to bring you a word. He said you don't want to die. If he wants to die, leave him some black medicine before he dies." It turned out that the man was Qing, placed in front of the eyes of the clan. He also prepared a safe house for Ren Xiaosu. But Ren Xiaosu rejected his kindness. Instead, he asked him where the top of the clan was. The man suspected that he was sick in the head. Does he really want to kill the clan alone? Half of the troops in this barrier are protecting the upper echelons. Half of the army was chasing him. Do you really think you are something? Ren Xiaosu fell into deep thought at this moment. I am afraid that the clan troops will soon have to pass through the Gobi. Arrive at Fortress 178. Only to hit this place hard. To be able to pull them back. He understands that this is the only chance at the moment. So he didn't hesitate anymore. Forced the man to take her to the 146 pillars. Barracks, when they arrive at their destination. Ren Xiaosu also threw him a few bottles of darkness. As a reward for Luo Fatsi. He then cut off the cage. Walked in alone. At this time, inside the camp of the 146th column. A large number of soldiers are patrolling in an orderly manner. Ren Xiaosu hidden under the manhole cover. The time interval between the soldiers' patrols is constantly calculated. And the direction of the footsteps. Finally, he found a manhole cover that didn't pass people often. Jumped over and flipped up. At this time, the headquarters of the sect was 200 meters away from him. He summoned a dark shadow. Infiltrate the sleeping soldier's room. Steal a military uniform and come out. After changing into the clan uniform, Ren Xiaosu finally didn't have to hide. In front of the soldiers. Swaggering to the door of the headquarters. Ready to swipe in. But the soldier suddenly stopped him. He was asked to show his documents. Originally, Ren Xiaosu still wanted to fool him. How dare you say it? You know every soldier in this camp. But the soldier said that I did not know everything. But there are only a few regimental commanders. I still recognize it. It turned out that Ren Xiaosu actually stole a set. Clothes with the rank of regimental commander. Faced the soldiers with guns raised. He slapped him unconscious. But the alarm was still triggered. Since you can't get away with it. Then he had no choice but to kill it. At this time, Ren Xiaosu broke into the command building, constantly evading the pursuit of soldiers' fire. Faced the enemy who was ambushed at the entrance of the building. He also directly used accurate head bullets. Remove lurking hazards. He didn't want to dwell too much on the enemy. Otherwise, it will be troublesome to wait for the soldiers to assemble. He searched floor by floor. The Chinese high-rise was not found. Just drop a grenade. Blow up the command room. At this time, Ren Xiaosu found a locked door. He used his knife to cut the lock of the door. Inside was a group of the warriors. And yet they were stunned. Motionless, it seems to be manipulated. Ren Xiaosu remembered Zhongqing's extraordinary ability. Its control. Others maybe. These Nemi warriors have already obeyed the command of Zhongqing. When Ren Xiaosu was fighting before. Consumes a large amount of Nemi robots. As a result, even the inner rice armor cannot cover the whole body. Thereupon, Ren Xiaosu took the opportunity to replenish a large number of Nemi robots. However, at this moment, the Nemi warrior suddenly opened his eyes. Rushed towards Ren Xiaosu. He understands that warriors are manipulated. Prove that Zhongqing may be nearby. Sure enough, when the door is opened, it's the midfielder outside. He was surprised how he could see Ren Xiaosu here. But even more surprised, the Nami robot on the Nami warrior. How is it not? Ren Xiaosu said. Nami warriors don't have Nami robots on them. Isn't it normal? There's no wife in the wife's cake. Then Ren Xiaosu carried a black knife and killed it. Zhongqing saw this. Immediately jump off the building and escape. And Ren Xiaosu absorbed a large number of Nami robots. Now it's not just about everything. In terms of performance as well as defense, it has also been greatly improved. This guest, Xiaosu, is like an armored warrior, easily dealt with several soldiers. Zhongqing was about to be overtaken, immediately exchanged for a large number of soldiers, and Ren Xiaosu immediately summoned the steam train. Swept past the crowd. Zhongqing saw this. Drive away immediately. At this moment, he was a little flustered. I don't understand why Wang Tsongyang's steam train will appear here. Suddenly, he reacted. Wang Tsongyang's steam train had only 4 carriages, and this car has at least a dozen sections. So he had a shocking guess. Could it be Ren Xiaosu's ability? Is it a replica of the abilities of other transcendents? He immediately informed all the soldiers. There's always a limit to what a shock sniper can do to the transcendent. He believed that as long as there were enough soldiers in the clan, Ren Xiaosu will definitely be dragged to death. At this time, Zongqing drove the car into the military headquarters, and Ren Xiaosu is also chasing after him. Facing the soldier is about to launch. RPG Ren Xiaosu took the lead in shooting 4-burst poker. With a flash of poker purple, a violent explosion erupted in the crowd. Ren Xiaosu also successfully broke through the defensive line of the military department. He didn't expect that. The defenses established by the clan were so vulnerable. So he planned to keep Zongqing first. If he continues to run for his life, it will definitely run to a place with strong defenses. Just use him to find the top of the clan. Sure enough, Zongqing drove the car to the site of 3 rooms. The chief was not willing to let him in, but in the face of Zongqing's cold threat, they had to choose to give up. After entering, Zongqing was full of pride. I wish they were hurting each other. So the soldiers hurried to report. Said that Zongqing ran away from the west gate. That's when the chief reacted. They were killed by the villain Zongqing. At this time, the steam train is also about to break in. Seeing this, the soldiers fired wildly with machine guns. I saw Ren Xiaosu throw 2 thunders into the shadow gate. The next second, the soldiers were blown away. The owner of the 3-room house at the moment was annoyed by Zongqing's villain scheme. He immediately called the 4th room, asked to unite against the big house. However, there was a roar from the 4 rooms on the phone. That despicable villain in Zongqing. Lure the transcendent to our estate. Hurry over and help. Sanfeng is also desperate at the moment. Sojo uses the transcendent to exclude dissidents. It's a really good game. At this moment, Ren Xiaosu was chasing the car. But Zongqing saw Ren Xiaosu's exhaustion. He couldn't help but feel happy. Hurriedly called my dad. The plan will be the end of the crossbow Ren Xiaosu. Lead to your own estate. Wait until you kill him. You can immediately integrate the resources of 3 and 4 bedrooms. When his father heard this, he hurriedly stopped him. But Zongqing had already hung up the phone. Slam on the gas pedal and drive all the way into your estate. As soon as he entered the door, he received a slap from his father. Praise him for being such a filial son. 146 barrier battle at this time. The fire is flying, and Ren Xiaosu is on his own. It turned this place upside down. He chased all the way to Zongqing's manor. Seeing this, the soldiers opened fire. Nuclear bombs hit there. Only the slightest spark can be rubbed on the armor. Seeing him approaching step by step, suddenly, he turned around and ran. Leave the soldier to say hello. However, Ren Xiaosu didn't know when. Has broken into the mansion of Zongqing. He also held Zongqing's personal letter hostage. Seeing that the soldiers did not dare to open fire because of the hostages, Kongqing directly shot his own uncle. Then he pushed his dad to the front. Turn around and run. Ren Xiaosu is also ruthless. A single knife ended his father's life. At this time, a soldier was about to shoot. Was kicked away by the armor that broke through the window. It turned out that Ren Xiaosu had already given the armor to the Black Shadow. Let him attract firepower. Sneak attack from the back by yourself. At this moment, Zongqing has no way to escape. Ren Xiaosu pressed forward step by step with a black knife. He thought of his brother who had been killed by Zhongqing, and 6 Yuan and others, whose whereabouts are unknown. The anger in the heart is at its peak. He started a urge. With anger, he slashed down, cut off Zongqing. Instantly he was out of breath. But Ren Xiaosu was hit by a shot. At this time, a large number of soldiers had gathered outside the manor, and he was seriously wounded. Run down. He had to flee as much as he could, trying to shake off the pursuers. That's when it happened. He noticed that someone seemed to be waving to him in the alley. The person who came turned out to be Zhang Xiaoman of the Sharp Knife Company. It turned out that the sharp knife company was left behind by Ren Xiaosu and did not choose to leave. Instead, he rushed to 146 day and night to avoid lightning. It's just to be able to help Ren Xiaosu, because they are all in one place. A sharp knife face that is all damaged. Zhang Xiaoman then gave the order to open fire. The sharp knife face of the machine gun has already been set up and is firing at full power. Stopped all the pursuers. Ren Xiaosu was a little curious about them. How to find yourself? Zhang Xiaoman explained. There was a fortune teller who pointed them out. Ren Xiaosu immediately thought of it. The old gentleman who told his fortune. I didn't expect him to really have some ability. But Zhang Xiaoman said. The man was a man from the 178 fortress, responsible for their answers. And he also has a code name. Ren Xiaosu pulled out the bullet in his body, while guessing whether this cargo code is called God Operator. But Zhao Xiaochen told him, this man's code name is Big Fool, because he always likes to fool his comrades in arms to cheap pocket money. Ren Xiaosu's whole person was petrified after hearing this. He almost believed the man's nonsense. 80% of those things were told to him by Zhang Jingning. It's really a big fool. That's when it happened. The sound of armor was heard outside. Zhang Xiaoman thought that they had attracted armored Lu. Hurriedly let everyone get in the car and leave, but escaped all the way. Zhao Xiaochen was a little strange. They were clearly within the range of the tank. But why don't they fire? Ren Xiaosu was skeptical. This armored Lu may not have come to fight them. Sure enough, when they stopped the car, Panzer Lu did not stop. Instead, he chased after the clan vehicle in front of him and kept chasing. Everyone looked puzzled. However, Ren Xiaosu's intuition told him, these people may be controlled by Li Shantan. However, Zongqing did not actually die. Instead, he used the body of the statue. The vehicle driving the clan escaped from the barrier. He drove the car off the cliff. Destruction of evidence. At this moment, he swore to himself, someday he'll come back. However, Li Shantan suddenly appeared behind him. Suspicious people are spotted. He hurriedly raised his pistol, but Li Shantan only snapped his fingers and control it. It turned out that Zong Cheng had already used the power of marionettes. Control your brother's clan statue as your own puppet. Then the alter difference. Zong Cheng actually has this ability. Doesn't it mean that as long as Zongqing has a puppet, there exists? Then he is immortal. After making sure that Zongqing did not control the other puppets, Li Shantan also ordered him to cut himself off. But Zongqing is a transcendent person after all. There is still a sense of resistance. Seeing this, Li Shantan had to take action to finish him off in person. When this is over, Li Shantan is also preparing. Go do something more fun. For example, resurrect the invincible stone statue of Xiao Sili behind him. At this time, the bridge of the government. Zhong Ying is also preparing to take the clan's men and horses. Continue on the run. He also planned to wait for the 178 fortress to clear the situation and start fighting. They can come back. After all, it is smeared with the ambition of a celebration. How could it be possible to let go of the fat of the north? That's when it happened. A little bit of seawater came from the water under the bridge. It condensed into ice at this moment. Then the soldier gradually shot out. Zhong Ying immediately used the soldiers as a shield. That's how a life was tied. However, at this moment, the sky suddenly began to snow. Countless soldiers descended from the sky. Stabbed Zhong Ying alive. He did a lot of calculations. Didn't calculate such an ending. This is the end of the battle. The clan was wiped out. And all this is Zhang Jinglin's layout. He guessed that Zhong Yin would take the bridge of the house. So the transcendent ambush was planted there in advance. In this battle, they also captured the transcendence of the clan. Go Yeyu begged for mercy and said not to kill him. His ability is to search for the transcendent. It can help Fortress 178 track down hidden transcendence. However, Zhang Jingling asked him to register his abilities. Hear this. Go Yeyu was shocked. Zhang Jinglin said, We 178 Fortress. There is no need to restrict the freedom of others. in exchange for strength. Early the next morning, the Qing family's Roland sent someone to send the covenant. But everyone felt that Qing's ambition was too great. Now it's just busy, synchronized with the barriers of the Li and Yang clans. I am afraid that they will rebel in the future. Jotun concerning the alliance with the Qing. Zhang Jingling has a heart, because the experimental subjects in the south are becoming more and more rampant. He believes that it is a priority. It was to let Qing kill the test subject with peace of mind. Otherwise, more people will die in the future. Soon after, the Sharp Knife Company finally returned to the 178 barrier. After so many wars, when the queue is counted, everyone is neat and tidy. Not a single person was lost. But only Ren Xiaosu is missing. Zhang Jingling knew that he was leaving to look for 6 people, but he believes that Ren Xiaosu will come back one day. This battle has made a great contribution to the Sharp Knife Company. He was also rewarded with the Nebula Medal as he wished. And the medal that belongs to Ren Xiaosu. Zhang Xiaoman kept it for him for the time being. He will never forget. The current honors are all brought to them by Ren Xiaosu. Wait for the day Ren Xiaosu comes back. He'll take it with his own hands. Ren Xiaosu, who left, began to be confused at this moment. He didn't have a clue at all. Where can I find them for $6? That's when he noticed a lot of lumberjacks in the distance. So I planned to go up and ask about the situation. Suddenly, 1,000 paper cranes flew in the sky. Ren Xiaosu quickly grabbed it, just as he wondered where the crane came from. The lumberjack on the side did recognize him. Originally, there was a storyteller in their market town who used to tell about it. Here's one. A mysterious organization that likes to use paper cranes to transmit information. When Ren Xiaosu opened it, he took a look. It was written on paper that the war in the north was decided. The surname signed a covenant with the 178 fortress. It turned out that someone was really passing information to the Central Plains. But Ren Xiaosu felt that there was something strange about this. Such a mysterious organization transmits intelligence. How could he be intercepted casually by himself? I don't know if this is a coincidence or a deliberate arrangement. Ren Xiaosu was worried that the disappearance of the paper crane would cause trouble. So I planned to fold it and let it go. But he suddenly forgot about the 1,000 paper cranes. How to say? After finally giving up, Ren Xiaosu followed the lumberjacks. Came to the emergency room outside the 61st barrier. Look at such a big emergency. He didn't even know where to start. At this point, a man seemed to see his difficulty. Enthusiastic stepped forward to talk to the brothers. Didn't you find your family? I know some friends here. They can help you find it. As long as you have money. Ren Xiaosu is worried that there is no clue. After hearing this, he immediately agreed. The man then led him to a wasteland. Then several bandits sprang out. The originally enthusiastic man has changed his face at the moment. Hand over the money. We'll let you live. Ren Xiaosu was indeed a little disappointed. I would have given it a try with a believing attitude. It turned out to be a robbery. In the face of these little babes, Ren Xiaosu will solve it with 3 times and 5 divided by 2. Then he picked up the bandit, forced to ask Jiang by where the storyteller is. Because he felt that the storyteller must be well informed. Maybe you can get a clue about 6 yuan from there. After that, Ren Xiaosu followed the clues. Came to a tavern in the market town. At this time, Mr. Storyteller also happened to come to the stage. He still seems to be blind. Shoot down with the board. The storyteller tells the story. This time we say 178 fortress battle heroes. A transcendent teenager. He was alone. Beat the entire clan battle donkey to pieces. The audience couldn't help but exclaim, "Is there really such a brave person in this world?" Ren Xiaosu was a little embarrassed. I didn't expect that. I listened to other people's stories here. With the second voice of the storyteller. The board is photographed. About the number 1 killer in the Central Plains. The story of organizing Ankins begins. Ren Xiaosu was instantly engrossed. It sounds like it's an extremely tight organization. The members of the organization are scattered and free, but it's very powerful. In particular, The ability to find people is simply against the sky. After listening, Ren Xiaosu became interested in Anjin Temple. Maybe I can ask them to find 6 people for me. He was going to gather information in this kind of way first. Make another plan. So Ren Xiaosu directly used gold. Bought a courtyard house in the market town. However, many displaced people heard the news. Have started the wishful thinking of robbing money. However, Ren Xiaosu was already in the high-rise building. Watched their every move. The homeless had just entered the courtyard, and he saw corpses in one place. He couldn't help but panic. Behind him, however, a dark shadow appeared, with the screams one after another. This group of outcasts was also dealt with by the black shadows. By this time, the homeless people in the courtyard had become a mountain. Although Ren Xiaosu knew that leaking money would attract outlaws, but I didn't expect it to be so popular on the first day. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu found a glowing thing in the pile of corpses. Turn it out and take a look. It turned out to be a pre-cataclysmic mobile phone. There is also an unread text message on it. However, Ren Xiaosu studied for a long time and didn't understand the meaning of this. But this phone has a camera function. It really allowed him to discover the new world. If you're fine, you'll find a place to take a selfie. You also have to take pictures before eating. The next few days, Ren Xiaosu heard the story of the storyteller in the tavern. Until one day, Mr. Storyteller did not come. He went from the hotel to the second child. Inquire about the storyteller's residence. So I looked for it. When the storyteller opened the door, Ren Xiaosu expressed his intentions. Said that he had come to him to listen to the story. Mr. Storyteller also complained. I've heard people say you come every day. I thought you were thinking about my granddaughter. Now it looks like you really want to listen to the story. Seemingly unintentional words. Ren Xiaosu was shocked. This man was obviously blind. In the tavern, so many people. How does he know who I am? But it was the storyteller who asked, "What story do you want to hear?" Ren Xiaosu wondered if he didn't need to go to the tavern to tell the story. Mr. Storyteller, however, "Tell the story you want to hear. I don't dare to say it in front of so many people." Ren Xiaosu was shocked. His thoughts seemed to have been seen through by this old gentleman. After God, Ren Xiaosu to the old man. I inquired a lot about Anjin Temple. They were also asked for their contact details. According to the old man, Anjin Temple has given out a batch of mobile phones to the pre-killers. The task will be sent to the phone as a text message, only after completing a series of tasks, to be eligible to participate in the official selection of Anjin Temple. Ren Xiaosu was immediately embarrassed after hearing this, thinking of the phone he had picked up earlier. I'm afraid it was issued by Anjin Temple. Zhao Hutsai, who was photographed in the past 2 days. I'm afraid it's already been sent out. Ren Xiaosu asked the old man curiously. How can you know these things? The old man did not explain. Instead, he asked rhetorically, how do you think I'm blind? At this moment, Ren Xiaosu also felt it. This storyteller is certainly not simple. There was a knock on the door of the boy who lived alone in the middle of the night. Outside the door stood a hungry woman. She wanted to trade herself for some food, but the boy turned her away. The woman is both aggrieved and afraid, because her husband saw her go home empty-handed. He verbally abused her and beat her severely. Ren Xiaosu looked at this scene indifferently. There is no mercy in the heart, because in this burial chamber, he's been used to it for a long time. That's when he receives an assassination mission on his phone. The target is the manager of the sand market at Barrier 62. He tortured and killed 9 displaced workers, although Barrier 62 is far from him. But he had to accept the task, because he needs to use this phone. Get in touch with the mysterious organization of Anjin Temple. This is the best way to find $6 right now. So he didn't stop for a moment. It was decided to set off overnight. He ran to an open field. Make sure there is no one around. Summoned a steam train. He calculated a distance of 190 kilometers by fire. The car only takes 3 or 4 hours. When he came to the vicinity of the 62 barrier, immediately put away the train and prepared to walk. He didn't want his abilities to be discovered yet, cause unnecessary trouble. Then he smeared mud on his face, disguised as an outcast. Wait until all this is done. He walked into the emergency room outside the 62 barrier with peace of mind. He found an old man on the side of the road. Ask where I can work and eat. Uncle told him. When you burn a brick kiln, you go to the north. Those who carry the mine go to the west. Dig the sand and go to the south. That's it. Ren Xiaosu successfully found the sand and gravel field where the target was located. Go to Anjinji Temple to give the factory drawing show. The manager's office is on the 4th floor. But when Ren Xiaosu arrived, only to find out that the target is dead, this was the moment he understood. The task is first come, first served. Ren Xiaosu was a little speechless. His own operation is as fierce as a tiger. But the result was 250. Ren Xiaosu returned to the 61 base station in a gray manner. A day's task was snatched away. I thought that the most difficult task was how to kill people. As a result, the most difficult thing is how to grab the task. Suddenly, the mission message came from the phone again. This time the target object. He used to be the director of the 146 Barrier Prison Department of the clan. Bullying of female prisoners while in office. And Ren Xiaosu looked at the photo. Discover the target object. It turned out to be the man who forced his wife to come to him before. This mission is just around the corner. Ren Xiaosu secretly swore an oath. If this is robbed again. He then went to Lalasi. Soon he came to the target location. But there was no rush to do it. Instead, they hide in the woods and wait for something. After 3 hours, another assassin came here. Ren Xiaosu sneaked behind him. It was a knee hit to him in the abdomen. Let you grab the task with me. I see how you can grab it if you don't have a mobile phone. Then Ren Xiaosu tied up the person and hid it. As long as no one sends it. Target photo. The task has always been unfinished. So he decided to keep fishing. Until midnight. Ren Xiaosu has already cut off several killers. It looks like it's almost time. He walked to the tent. The man who was still asleep was silenced. He didn't relent. After all, the lackeys of the clan killed one less than one. Subsequently, Ren Xiaosu took a photo of the target's death and sent it over. Not for a while. You will receive a message on your phone that the task is complete. However, Ren Xiaosu's killer road has just begun. Someone who wants to meet Ankins. Only those who have been promoted from D-level killers to A rank are eligible. A week later, Ankins' dispatcher found out. Barrier number 61 before. These prefecture-level tasks. The average completion time is 4 hours. Now it's a day away. If it weren't for the 11 qualification holders, they would have replied to the task. They thought there was no one near Barrier 61. And get the job done. Is still the Taihanin who always likes to post selfies and dishes. The long-haired woman laughed. This is certainly a newly qualified holder. But he's pretty good. 2 tasks were successfully completed at once. However, the short-haired woman found the clue. 11 people who have taken over the task before. I don't seem to have taken any tasks recently. It's like disappearing out of thin air. The long-haired woman also sensed that something was wrong. Hurriedly got up and prepared to report to the boss. The boy wants to be promoted to an A-rank killer quickly. He kidnapped all the killers in the area and snatched their phones, because then you don't have to worry about the task being robbed by others. Ren Xiaosu has found the right way since he found it. The efficiency of doing tasks has increased exponentially. Tonight is the 3rd prefecture-level mission he has received. And the target is the 144 walls of the clan. Director of the Department of Revenue. I didn't expect it to be an acquaintance again this time, just as he was getting ready to act. But I felt a strange gaze behind me. He looked back. I found a paper crane on the telephone pole. Is this being watched? He speculated that his recent behavior was targeted by Anjin Temple, and the other party is investigating who is making the release. Suddenly, the shadow gate appeared beside the 1,000 paper cranes. He just reacted. He was grabbed by a hand sticking out of the door. Ren Xiaosu took it apart and took a look. There was nothing on the paper. He was even more certain. This 1,000 paper cranes are used for surveillance. So he silently put it away. Next task. Ren Xiaosu also solved it very smoothly. He found the prefecture-level mission issued by Anjin Temple. Assassinate the target. Almost all of them are managers who deceive the world. But who would buy those people's lives? The next day, Ren Xiaosu came to the tavern again to listen to the story. It is learned that Qing has succeeded in driving the test subject out of the disease. And the granddaughter of Mr. Storyteller, Xiaolu. Seeing that he did not come for 2 days, I also politely stepped forward to greet him. He also asked if the braids around him looked good. Hear an affirmative answer. The fawn's heart suddenly blossomed. Suddenly, Ren Xiaolu asked, "Do you stack 1,000 paper cranes?" The fawn listened, instantly blushed. I hate how to take the initiative to find a girl to ask for 1,000 paper cranes. Then he shyly covered his face and ran away, leaving Ren Xiaosu with an embarrassed face. He really wanted to learn how to fold 1,000 paper cranes. The old man heard movement. The story can't be told anymore. How dare this kid hook up with my precious granddaughter? At this time, Ren Xiaosu came up to say goodbye to the old man. The old man was pleasantly surprised and said, "Oh, you're gone. But that's half the story." He reacted suddenly, hurriedly coughed, and said that he should pay attention to safety when leaving. It was so dangerous that he almost said what was in his heart. Ren Xiaosu's face was black. Originally, he wanted to go out and avoid the limelight. After all, he was noticed by Anjin Temple during this time. But how do you feel that this old man wishes I was gone? After leaving, Ren Xiaosu was on the street. I saw an incomparably familiar figure. He was a little shocked. Is that Nishiki? But when he got closer, he realized that he was not a young lady. The two just look a little alike. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but feel lost. But what he didn't know was, when the two walked away, but the girl stopped, looked back at his back. I felt that this man seemed a little familiar. Soon after, the girl came to the tavern. The old gentleman saw him coming. It is also a branch path. Let him go out and get soy sauce first. Then the girl asked the old gentleman, "Recently, there have been no strange people in the market town." The old gentleman said no. So he came to the place where the 1,000 paper cranes disappeared. It turned out that the girl was ready to go. Investigate the disappearance of the 61 barrier killers. Meanwhile, near the place where the mission is carried out, a pair of master and apprentice are preparing to do it. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu's voice came from behind him. "Are you two here on a mission?" The man did not speak, just quickly turned around and shot. But there is still a figure behind him. When he saw the man, he stretched out his hand to react. Ren Xiaosu confirmed. This group of people is the killer who came to carry out the mission. He clenched his fist in sequence. Hammer at the two of them. However, the man obviously has some strength in his body. I didn't faint after receiving a punch from him. The man got up and ran. I scolded your mother in my heart. Ankyo Temple sends prefecture-level mobile phones to Transcendentals. What do you eat? A Transcendent to do a ground-level mission. It's shameless. Seeing that Ren Xiaosu was chasing after him, the man hurriedly shouted that I have money. I can give you money. But Ren Xiaosu still punched it. I don't want money. All I need is your phone. He didn't expect that. This man is still a C-class killer. No wonder he was able to hold himself with a punch. The man also has an A-class appointment on his phone. It's a pity that Ren Xiaosu is only a few now. I am not qualified to take on the task at all, but he could go and check it out. How the A-rank killer performs his mission. When the man wakes up, it was found that there were 4 or 5 killers lying in the alley. His first instinct was to check his wallet. Luckily, the money is still there. However, the mobile phones they used to take the task were all snatched away. The man burst into tears. They usually make some money by eliminating harm for the people. Now the way to make money has been robbed. It's really sinister. This time, Ren Xiaosu successfully completed 2 more tasks. According to the requirements, it can be upgraded to C level. but he never received an upgrade message. And the scheduling at this time is. The two were discussing whether to upgrade Ren Xiaosu to sea level. But the long-haired woman found out. D-class missions near Barrier 63 were also a bit delayed. I wonder if she's the ghost. So I immediately asked the boss what to do. The boss said that she would be promoted to C grade. Let's see what she wants to do. It was also emphasized that no more D-class missions should be sent to her. Scourge other D-class killers. In the evening, Ren Xiaosu also received the information of being promoted to C level. But now she's ready to give it a try. How A-level tasks are done. Painting the Tang people is just drawing a phoenix. The next second, the golden phoenix came to life and jumped on the stone slab. Then he drew a dragon. Then the golden dragon swirled upward. And this is actually the extraordinary ability of a painter of the Tang dynasty. Just now, Ren Xiaosu learned a piece of A-level mission information. Although he had just been promoted to the C rank, not yet eligible for A-level missions. But he wanted to see it up close, how the A-rank killer performs the mission. So he found a tall building with a great view. Set up your sniper rifle. Start looking for your goal. But observe a circle. There don't seem to be any suspicious people in the vicinity. Could it be that he was the first mission bearer to come here? Then, several characters whose temperament does not match the inhabitants of the fortress at all appears in the sniper scope. They are the target of this time. Tinder's early morning squad. Ren Xiaosu thought in his heart. If there is no one on the side of Anjian Temple to carry out the mission, then it's up to him to finish them off. Idle is idle anyway. Just help the little police solve part of the fire. Suddenly, fireworks burst into the sky. The sound of fireworks exploding. With the sound of a sniper rifle, one of the members of the early morning squad was hit red-handed, and passers-by looked up to enjoy the fireworks at this time. Didn't notice all this happening in the slightest. Then another gunshot rang out. Another target was also killed on the spot. Yuan Xiaosu quickly locked on to the sniper's position. He didn't expect a one-hit killer to even have a sniper. But this Tinder company is too easy to deal with. A single sniper can wipe out your squad. But he immediately realized that he was wrong. At this time, a man in black was rushing to the roof of the building at breakneck speed. It's obviously not the same level as the one you've played before. At this time, another man in black in the opposite building. His location was also discovered. Subsequently, arrogantly made a gesture at him to wipe his neck. The next second, another man in black suddenly appeared behind Ren Xiaosu. Fortunately, he released the dark shadow ahead of time. Intercept the men in black who are sneaking up on the spot. Then Ren Xiaosu pulled the trigger. An armor-piercing bullet burst out of the air. Instantly pierced the body of the man in black on the opposite side. Then, Ren Xiaosu slowly raised his head and said, "You pretend to be your horse." However, loud gunfire has already caused an uproar among residents. Ren Xiaosu understood that it was no longer safe here. He immediately put away his sniper rifle. Start the transfer location. Suddenly, he saw something unusual. The residents downstairs were fleeing in all directions. Only the Candyman. I am calmly and leisurely drawing a sugar painting. When he finished sketching the last, a golden phoenix emerged from the stone slab. The next second, the golden phoenix soared in midair like a rainbow, deliberately chasing after the members of the target who escaped. Attacked them fiercely. Ren Xiaosu couldn't take his eyes off it. I sigh that there is such a magical, extraordinary ability. But it didn't take long. The painter has completed another dragon. Then the golden dragon swirled upward. The momentum is overwhelming. But when he started drawing tigers, he trembled, sweating profusely. It seems that the limit of painting Tang people is 3 paintings. But at this moment, a pair of Tinder company squads came out of the building. Look at their posture as if they were ready. Ren Xiaosu looked surprised. It seems that there is a problem with the intelligence of Anjinji. The folks at Tinder should have noticed it a long time ago. Someone was preparing to assassinate them. That team was probably just a decoy for them. 4. It is to capture the Transcendent, who encircled and suppressed them this time. Before Ren Xiaosu came back to his senses, the people at Tinder have their eyes on him. He quickly jumped to the top of another building. This was followed by a reflexive shot in mid-air. He must not let Tinder's plan succeed. And this scene was also bumped into by a man downstairs. He hurriedly asked on the walkie-talkie, "Do we send other snipers yet?" But it was told on the intercom. Only one of their A-class snipers took on the mission, and just already dead. Soon, Ren Xiaosu was constantly chased and killed by 3 members of the Dusk Squad. The man reports over the intercom and asks if anyone can go to the rescue. But the reply I received was that it was too far away. Too late at the same time. Ren Xiaosu was annoyed while fleeing for his life. "I just wanted to see him. If you don't make trouble, why do you still get into trouble?" But even if you kill a member of the Tinder company, that's their first move. He was holding a sniper rifle on the roof of the building, just to see better. "I didn't want to hit anyone. As for you, send 3 men out to chase after you?" Thinking of this, Ren Xiaosu suddenly reacted. Then he stopped. "It's only 3 of you, so I'm afraid of what?" Suddenly, the sound of a police car came from downstairs. The members of the Twilight Squad realized. People from the royal family gathered around. 3 to 1 at the moment. They have to be quick. But when they raised their guns and aim, Ren Xiaosu took half a step back. They thought he was going to run away again. However, the next second, Ren Xiaosu exerts strength on the soles of his feet. The whole person rushed over like a cannonball. Seeing this, the Dusk team also immediately opened fire. Ren Xiaosu instantly covered his whole body with that armor, blocked all the bullets. At this moment, the members of the Twilight Squad looked terrified. The legendary Transcendent who broke through the 146 barriers alone. How did it appear here? The captain immediately took out his mobile phone. Prepare a debriefing. But that's not the end of the story. He was stabbed through the heart with a black knife. Seeing this, the other members immediately scattered and fled. But how could their speed be as fast as Ren Xiaosu? I haven't run a few steps yet. And they were overtaken. However, Ren Xiaosu didn't care about this behind him. Instead, they chased after another, farther member. His feet jerked. In the blink of an eye, he chased after the man. A life that accompanies the freezing of the flesh. The black knife also sank into the man's body. And the member behind him was also successfully dealt with by the black shadow. However, there is so much going on tonight. The potential danger has not been lifted. May Xiaosu hurriedly retract the black wing. Prepare to escape the barrier first. The boy was away from home for a week. Lock the house. It has become what people call a haunted house. Just because Yuan Xiaosu left before. Potato shooters were planted in the yard. And the so-called trouble. The ghost incident is these homeless people who sneaked into the yard. The sound of being hit by a potato shooter and screaming. A few days ago, Ren Xiaosu strayed into a first-level assassination mission, forced to kill 3 members of Tinder. In order not to reveal identity, he immediately chose to flee the scene. But his figure was captured by the surveillance. Luckily, he's fast. It was not photographed on the front, but artificial intelligence. However, he was listed as extremely dangerous. After Ren Xiaosu was hungry for a few days, finally back to Barrier 61. He hadn't eaten for a few days and went straight to the tavern. But the fawn looked hell. Holding a bunch of paper cranes, he hurriedly ran away. Leave Ren Xiaosu with a greeting face. Then the fawn came to him with a blush on his face. You just saw what I'm doing. I didn't see Ren Xiaosu shaking his head. The fawn breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that I didn't see it. You hurry home after eating. People in the market town say your yard is haunted. In the middle of the night, ghosts always cry and wolves howl. But Ren Xiaosu didn't pay attention to it at all. He had only seen anything more terrible than a ghost. But I've never seen a real ghost. But out of prudence, he checked the lock first. It was found that there was no trace of passivity. He watched in the doorway. There was nothing out of the ordinary. But when he walked in the door, a smell of blood came to my face. The yard was soaked with corpses. It turned out that this was the so-called haunted event. So the Black Shadow once again did the hard work of burying the corpse. In the evening, Ren Xiaosu came to the tavern again. I met an old man who was eating noodles. So he stretched out his hand and beckoned, and said that I would also bring me dishes and chopsticks and noodles. Put more spicy seeds. The old man saw that he was back. So I asked him a question. Divide a watermelon into 3 pieces. Each block is 0.333. That's right. Where did the remaining 0.001 go? This question instantly made people feel a little blind. After thinking for a moment, he replied, on the sword. The old man was silent for a while, and sure enough, the texture is biased. Ren Xiaosu understood. The old man knows his identity. The old man has a serious face, I warn you. A dangerous person like you came up to provoke my granddaughter. Suddenly, gunshots rang out in the streets. Ren Xiaosu knows. This is another war between Anjian Temple and the Tinder Company. When is the time for retribution? But the old man said that it was not a grudge. It was a battle of paths and ideas between the two organizations. If there is no such way in philosophy, they can hardly be called an organization in the first place. At this time, the streets erupted in violent fires. It seems that Anjian Temple did not take advantage of anything. At this time, Ren Xiaosu is the old man. You're on the side of Anjian Temple. Still on the side of the Tinder. Whether I'm standing on the side of Anjian Temple or not, I won't be on the side of the Tinder. Now the Tinder Company. On the road of genetic evolution, we have gone crazy. After the cataclysm, there is no order in the world, and their ambitions swelled. Ren Xiaosu didn't care. I don't think they're that good. The old man said earnestly. An organization that can radiate the entire Barrier Alliance. An organization capable of mass-producing super soldiers. Isn't. The strength of an organization is judged by the strength of an individual. Ren Xiaosu didn't care. That's when it happened. The system publishes the task. Pick up the injured person. 3 days. Ren Xiaosu hadn't heard the palace release task for a long time. He only hopes that he can come to Zhang Wan's American skill suit this time. Although he didn't want to wade into this troubled water. You can see that the palace is muddy this time. I'm afraid I'm going to flood my house. After arriving at the door, Ren Xiaosu smelled the smell of blood from afar. Just the moment he turned around and closed the door, a woman stabbed her from the shadows. As a result, Ren Xiaosu had already noticed it. A single blow to the woman was brought to the knees. But when he picked it up, he looked at it. The good guy turned out to be an acquaintance of Zhou Yingxue. In order not to eat his tofu, Yuan Xiaosu specially summoned a black shadow to hug him. And he found out. The potato shooter in the yard actually stopped cooking. Yuan Xiaosu bowed his head and said, he can control plants, and ye shall not attack him. You still have no money. The potato shooter reluctantly spat out a potato. The meaning should be to keep your mouth shut. Ren Xiaosu also looked helpless. What is this? Zhou Yingxue woke up to find that she was tied up. There is also a familiar figure in sight. How could it be you? What do you want? Ren Xiaosu hurriedly waved his hand. It's not for you to wait. I don't want to do anything. Zhou Yingxue looked extremely excited. Are you here to arrest me? Don't. You have joined Tinder or Wong Group. Ren Xiaosu didn't have good bubbles. This is my house. You came to my house in the middle of the night. Also asked me why I was here. Do you think it's appropriate? Shouldn't I have asked you what your plans are for me? Zhou Yingxue was angry and ruined anyone. Who will have plans against you? How could you, a transcendent being, live here? Ren Xiaosu didn't bother to explain. Just take out the key and open and close the door. Zhou Yingxue finally quieted down. So this is really your home. Then Ren Xiaosu closed the door and locked it. Came to my turf. You'll have to listen to me. From now on, I say what you do. The boy was attacked by a female assassin in the middle of the night. As a result, he knocked him unconscious and brought back to the bedroom to be bound and imprisoned. Then the boy took off his clothes and locked the doors and windows. From now on, I say what I do. Immediately after that, Ren Xiaosu carried out 2.5 hours of in-depth communication. It was found. Zhou Yingxue turned out to be an A-level killer who was being evaluated. To know, Ren Xiaosu is only a first-level killer at present. Zhou Yingxue said with a smile when she learned about it. You're not kidding. A transcendent like you would come to a local killer. Ren Xiaosu explained. Doesn't this have to be done to escalate slowly? Didn't you start from the prefecture level? As a result, Zhou Yingxue laughed directly into tears. It turns out that the transcendent person identifies. We'll get the new phone directly. Only the phones of the transcendent can accept A-class missions. And the A level is to match the fingerprint. These words instantly made Ren Xiaosu stunned. Then he really got it out of Zhou Yingxue's pocket. A dedicated mobile phone with a fingerprint lock was found. Ren Xiaosu began to think. How can you do it without revealing your identity at the same time? Go and do A-level missions. As a result, Zhou Yingxue told him. This mobile phone was brought in by 1,000 paper cranes. On Gene 4 won't ask. The killer's identity is hidden or revealed at your own will. Ren Xiaosu was relieved. Then, Zhou Yingxue begged if she could untie the rope. I'm going to die if I don't treat my wounds. Ren Xiaosu looked harmless to humans and animals. Rest assured that it is not fatal. Can't die in 3 days. Zhou Yingxue was instantly angry. What does it mean to not be able to die within 3 days? I don't just have to live for 3 days. Besides, I became a killer to earn money to treat my mother. Not for yourself. Hear this. Ren Xiaosu also relented. So kindly untied her. I'm going to take care of my wounds. Can you go out first? Ren Xiaosu was puzzled. To your IQ. What am I going out for? Because I'm going to take off my clothes. If you want to say this, I'm not sleepy. But I know you're not that kind of person. As a result, Ren Xiaosu really ate this set. He turned around and left the room. Zhou Yingxue looked relieved. I can meet this kind of man with a bottom line this year. It's lucky. I saw Zhou Yingxue's shoulders after undressing. There was a deep wound. Inadvertently, he caught a glimpse of the open window. Just as he was about to slip away, Ren Xiaosu's voice sounded outside the window. You take 2 more steps. Surely death. Do you believe it? Zhou Yingxue immediately explained. I just want to find it. Is there a needle and thread to close the wound? I had a deep stab wound. Then Ren Xiaosu threw a bottle of black medicine in. After the stitches. With this medicine, remember to say thank you. Then the windows were slammed shut. Zhou Yingxue was frustrated. Every time she meets Ren Xiaosu, there's always a sense of powerlessness. Is it a gap in strength? After Zhou Yingxue finished treating the wound, Ren Xiaosu tied her to the chair again. He lay down comfortably in bed. You're still not a man. Is it just for a wounded girl? But soon he kept his mouth shut. Because I don't know when. Ren Xiaosu actually took out a gun and pointed it at him. Early the next morning, Ren Xiaosu brought a bowl of boiled potatoes. Zhou Yingxue was curious. Do you usually eat boiled potatoes? Ren Xiaosu waved his hand and said, I usually go to the restaurant to eat. What I have is money. Then I'm going to go down to the restaurant too. Tell me about it. What do you want to eat? One mention of this. Zhou Yingxue's eyes glowed golden. Eat steamed lamb, steamed bear's paws, steamed deer tails, roasted ducks, roasted chicks. Good guy, put this aside the name of the dish. Ren Xiaosu was speechless. What do you think? You've just finished wreaking havoc in someone's wall, turned around and swaggered to the restaurant in the market town. At this time, Zhou Yingxue asked secretly. This potato was spit out by a plant in the yard. Where did this plant come from? Ren Xiaosu doesn't play drafts when he lies. I bought the seeds from someone else. Zhou Yingxue directly debunked you to deceive the fool. I've never seen this strange seed on the black market. As soon as I heard about the black market, Ren Xiaosu's interest. Is there still a black market in the Central Plains? Zhou Yingxue explained, no matter where. There are such underground trading venues. Mainly deals in arms and pharmaceutical intelligence information. There are also many killers who are resident on the black market. They gathered there, work together on the complex tasks released by Injinji, Ren Xiaosu is like discovering a new world. I'm excited, then you take me to the black market tonight. That's it. Meanwhile, Roland came to the 178 fortress on behalf of Jinshi to talk about the cooperation ceremony. And he also handed over a woman as a hostage. This woman is not simple either. It is the woman that Qingji likes. I saw Luo Fatsi shaking hands with Su Xianchu. Then happy to work together. May neither you nor I ever afford it. After the sword soldiers left, Zhouqi puzzled. How come I don't know? Qingji liked such a girl. Luo Fatsi said. She is a singing girl at the 111 barrier. Qing was immediately unsafe. There's no way Kyungjin can be distracted to shelter her. Zhouqi's brows were furrowed, so I didn't understand it anymore. I really like why I sent it as a hostage. Luo Fatsi smiled and said that Zhang Jinglin is a rare upright gentleman. It's safest to be sent here as a hostage. And for the sake of the railway, everything is worth it. It turned out that the Qing clan was preparing in the mountains to the west. Open a road to the central plains. In this way, 111 fortresses take 178 fortresses. It may not take more than a day. As long as the Qing clan establishes a solid base in the front, the railway will be like a lifeline. A steady stream of soldiers and supplies was brought in. Zhouqi questioned that Zhang Jinglin was not stupid. How is it possible for you to drive the army next to him? Can be instantaneous. He reacted to the fact that you have a common enemy. Performance makes you feel like you're the enemy. Luo Fatsi's expression was serious, and this enemy was the Central Plains royal family. Zhouqi didn't understand Wang Shangji, the head of the royal family. It is said to be in a wheelchair. Always be kind to others. You are also afraid of such people. Luo Fatsi explained that it took 10 years for this Wang Shangji. Twisted the royal consortium into a rope. For another 10 years, the policy of compulsory military service was carried out day by day. Most importantly, Qingzhen said, Wang Shangji has the ambition of unifying the barrier alliance. Then Luo Fatsi sighed. If only we could pull Ren Xiaosu to our side. If he sits on the 111 barrier, Qingzhen will be able to show his strength. Zhouqi said dissatisfied. What do you mean? Said that I am not as good as Ren Xiaosu. I can't protect your brother and sister. Do you dare to break the 146 barrier alone? Hearing this, Zhouqi stopped eating instantly. Well, when I didn't say. Meanwhile, Barrier 66 was completed in Tsinghua University. Yang Xiaojin reappeared after many days. At this moment, she was confessed in public. The girl was confessed to her face by a handsome senior on campus. But he refused on the spot. I have someone I like. The boy looked disappointed. Half a step back. Was looked at by Yang Xiaojin. Look at how deep your feelings are. Today I reject you. Tomorrow you will like someone again. Your so-called likes. It's just a speculative temptation. Once blocked, will immediately back down. The boy can't help but ask who you like. Is that the president of the student council? Yang Xiaojin looked down. He is no longer inaugurate. Do you think that student council president is good? It's because you haven't had a chance yet. Go and see the outside world. And the one I liked. Never a flower in a greenhouse. Yang Xiaojing sighed in his heart. I'm not like you. I've never been a normal student. I've killed people. I was also with someone. A hope was built in the wilderness. Until that hope is dashed. Yang Xiaojing returned to the cottage where he lived alone. Take out a black bag from the closet. Inside was a sniper rifle. He kept wiping the gun. Memories flashed through my mind. Ren Xiaosu, are you still alive? At first, the thugs said that they could help him get revenge. The condition is to do enough 10 things for the mob. It's only been 2 months. He still hasn't heard anything. Suddenly, he clung to the sniper rifle. It's like hugging Ren Xiaosu. Then he sighed silently. Come to the desk. Start writing letters. And he used notice writing. You can only reveal yourself by baking on the fire. He then folded the letters into 1,000 paper cranes. Released from the window. I hope you can bring me good news. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu also came to the suburbs of Los Angeles. Because Zhou Yinxue said, the black market is in a ravine on the edge of L.A. The reason why the location was chosen is near Los Angeles. It is also related to the fact that Qinghe Group has always ignored this kind of thing. Ren Xiaosu said patiently after entering, "You pretend to be my attendant." But this immediately caused Zhou Yinxue to be dissatisfied. "Have you ever seen such a naturally beautiful retinue? I'm extraordinary. Don't overdo it." I saw Ren Xiaosu's face full of murderous anger. "You try to force it again." Zhou Yinxue instantly quieted down. Haha. The retinue followed. But soon he began to argue again. "Black is a lot of people who have seen me. They know what I'm capable of. And I'm a transcendent being for you to be your retinue. Then how powerful is your identity?" Ren Xiaosu thought about it. "It seems to be so. Then you can tell the outside world that I am your assistant." This change in identity made Zhou Yinxue very happy. "Then you'll have to look like an assistant. You can't call me around." However, the prosperity of the black market made Ren Xiaosu a little unexpected. Just entered. Some enthusiastic people asked if they needed to provide services. And the black market lights are shining brightly at night. It looks like the city center before the cataclysm. Zhou Yinxue also secretly told Ren Xiaosu, "There are also large casinos here. The dealers inside are wearing them one by one." Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu forked. "It's more exaggerated than when you were in the library." Zhou Yinxue was instantly ashamed. "Do you have to mention it?" After that, it was too late in the day. They were going to find a hotel to stay in first. But the waiter told them, "There is only one room left tonight." So the two were forced to live together. At this moment, a man walked in the distance. "Yin Yang Monster Chi Dao, isn't this Zhou Yinxue? I heard that the last mission went very well. It's just that you're the only one who went to the first level killer and you're back." Sure enough, it's a powerful transcendent. Ren Xiaosu complained on the side. "Who can't even afford socks?" Provoked the man to be angry. Zhou Yinxue waved her hand and said, "Assistant, stop him for me. Don't let me see in the eyes. I went upstairs to rest first." Ren Xiaosu swallowed his anger and said, "Okay." And the man is not angry. Before completing a bunch of tasks, began to raise a little white face. Then Ren Xiaosu knocked on the door. Zhou Yinxue looked left and right. Check if the person is gone. After Ren Xiaosu entered the room, he immediately knelt on the ground and thumped his legs. "I was just trying to disguise it like a little. It's not really about directing you. And I'm really annoyed with him." Ren Xiaosu asked curiously, "What does he do?" "He's a first-class killer. It's called Zhao Haoqing. Barrier 61 mission. Originally, he was going to be involved. As a result, I appeared. The group kicked him out of the team." Ren Xiaosu suddenly realized. "It turned out that you took his place. No wonder he's so yin and yang." "Okay, don't hammer. You're a transcendent person." Zhou Yinxue looked helpless. "I'm about to become a big girl next to you. How can there be the dignity of the transcendent?" Ren Xiaosu jumped onto the bed. The bed in the upscale hotel is just comfortable. Soft. Zhou Yinxue watched her fall asleep. I was indignant in my heart. It's really not a gentleman at all. The sofa is the sofa. People are under the eaves. Had to bow his head. But when Zhou Yinxue opened her eyes in the morning, only to find that Ren Xiaosu was staring straight at him, he was taken aback. "What are you doing?" Ren Xiaosu said expressionlessly, "I just heard you talking in a dream. Just come and see you." Zhou Yinxue was surprised. "What did I say in my dreams?" "You said to kill you." Ren Xiaosu, he hurriedly waved his hand to explain the dream words. "Don't take it seriously." Then Ren Xiaosu threw the phone to him. "Hurry up. There's a new mission. Level 1 mission objective. Zhou Shilong. Located at Barrier 73. Advocate the development of nuclear weapons and occupy subordinates. The wife has been protected by transcendental beings. The remuneration is 1 million. Collaboration of up to 5 people is accepted." At this time, the bell in the hotel suddenly rang. Room 1209 guests entrust the hotel to initiate a collaboration invitation. But Ren Xiaosu urged him to hurry up. lest the task be robbed. That's all we need for this task. Zhou Yingxue said hello with a smile on her face. Do D-level need to grab tasks? Ren Xiaosu was shocked to the point that A-level people didn't have to rob it. Zhou Yingxue explained, as long as someone completes the collaboration first, the team is formed. This task will not be handed over to anyone else. An Anjin Temple will rate. This team is not eligible to take on the mission. It's just the two of us. The probability of a job being applied for is not high. Ren Xiaosu can only compromise and go. Let's see how my teammates are doing. However, what the two didn't expect was this. A teammate in room 1209. It turned out to be the yin and yang man Zhao Haoqing. Oh, it's you. It's a shame that there isn't a place for you this time. Zhou Yingxue is not used to him. Directly exposed the black material that he likes to betray his teammates. Zhao Hao was established and Zhou Yingxue was anxious. I'm warning you. Don't slander people casually. Ren Xiaosu looked helpless on the side. Don't you have to grab the task in this episode? At this moment, a man with glasses stood up. I act as the task initiator. I don't want to offend them. But everything is particular about first come, first served. So sorry. After a task is rejected, Zhou Yingxue left angrily. Prepare to go back to your room and continue to wait for the task. But Ren Xiaosu said that he wanted to leave the black room. Zhou Yingxue thought that he had not grabbed the task application. Immediately stepped forward to comfort. Ren Xiaosu felt inexplicable. Why did he apply? I'll wait for that Zhao Haoqing to come out of the hotel and kill him. Wouldn't we have a place then? There are many people in the black market. Let's go out first. Waiting on their way. Zhou Yingxue suddenly refreshed her cognition. Is this all a human thing? Ren Xiaosu explained. Didn't you say that the guy likes to hack his teammates? Then I can be regarded as eliminating harm for the people. Hear this. Zhou Yingxue suddenly became shy. Thank you for helping me out amazingly. Ren Xiaosu turned his head and said, who cares if you're angry or not? I just want to do the task. After the black trend, Ren Xiaosu took out a sniper rifle. Ambush in their path. After a while, a car appeared in the sniper scope. At this time, Zhao Haoqing was still asleep, unaware that he had been locked by a sniper rifle. As Ren Xiaosu pulled the trigger, Zhao Haoqing was shot in the head on the spot. At this time, Ren Xiaosu was puzzled. It's weird to have a few people in the team, knowing that there was something wrong with him, and pull him as a teammate. However, Zhao Haoqing had just died. The two of them had eye difficulties. I also guessed the reason for the incident. My name is Sycamore. You are welcome to join us. Zhou Yingxue questioned. You don't seem to mind at all. Just died a teammate. Wudong said bluntly. My friend is after teaming up with Zhao Haoqing. Killed by him. We were playing a game and trying to kill him. But I didn't expect you to finish him off with a sniper rifle first. Miss Zhou Yingxue's strength is extraordinary. No wonder the 61 barrier mission was able to completely annihilate the Tinder company. Twilight Squad. Ren Xiaosu fell into thought on the side. Zhou Yingxue obviously escaped at that time. Why everyone says the task was well done? Could it be that the Royal Consortium ostensibly captured Anjin Temple, but behind the scenes, it is the same as Anjin Temple? After that, Ren Xiaosu disguised the identity of Zhou Yingxue's assistant. Let's hit the road together. It's getting late. They set up tents to sponsor. Zhou Yingxue was helping Ren Xiaosu beat her legs on the bed at the moment. The mission was accomplished. How much can I share with the reward? Ren Xiaosu said. I'll pick you two. Zhou Yingxue was suddenly dissatisfied. I'm only split in two. How do you still have an opinion? Zhou Yingxue wanted to cry without tears. 2 makes 2 into 2. Although he is good at assassination, infiltration, and intelligence, it can be said that the combat effectiveness is obvious, and Ren Xiaosu is stronger. I can do tasks with my thighs and my arms. It doesn't seem like a big loss. Then, Ren Xiaosu suddenly turned around and drove Zhou Yingxue back to his tent. Because it occurred to him suddenly. In case the news of being alone with this woman gets out, I'm afraid I'm going to take a game. Zhou Yingxue was refreshed after coming out of the tent, aroused the suspicion of his teammates. What kind of assistant is this? It's clearly a little white face. You say, will that little white face drag us down when the time comes? Sycamore immediately came up with an idea. When we got to the outside of the ramparts, mix in the barriers according to the channels discussed before. Let Zhou Xue and them find a way to get in by themselves. If they can't get in, there's no way to drag us down. The next day, they came to the outside of Barrier 73. Sycamore said that entering the barrier together is too attention-grabbing. We act separately. Rendezvous in the direct barrier. Then he left Ren Xiaosu, and the two left. After Ren Xiaosu's investigation, I found that they had already exhausted the barriers. But Ren Xiaosu didn't mind. After all, people are not obligated to help them solve their problems. At this time, Ren Xiaosu was a little difficult. He could go straight through the wall. But how to bring Zhou Xue in? Zhou Xue seemed to see his concerns. I can control the plants. Open the underground passage access barrier. The wall foundation will not be very deep. There should be no problem. He dropped a seed at random. The moment the seed touches the ground, the rhizome grows and expands wildly. In a few moments, it's spread over the walls and foundations. The woman drops a seed at random. The moment the seed touches the ground, the rhizomes swell like crazy. In the blink of an eye, it spread into the walls. Then he slammed it. Under Ren Xiaosu's stunned gaze, a passage of several tens of meters was thus completed. Ren Xiaosu thinks this ability is really practical. Dozens of meters underground. Just dig a bomb shelter in a random room. It's a breeze. Zhou Xue looked at the entrance of the cave and was a little dissatisfied. Oops, it's early. It's a little smaller than expected. Just make do and jump in. Ren Xiaosu insisted on letting her jump first. Zhou Xue thought she couldn't believe herself. He didn't realize until he crawled. This Xiaosu shouldn't be peeking at me in the back. What a shame. After successfully entering the 73 barriers, Ren Xiaosu threw the sniper rifle to him. You go and meet them first. I still have a few things to do. Then he turned and left. Because at this time, on his phone, new C and D class missions have been received. Hee, I don't know how many phones I can grab. A mobile phone is hundreds of thousands. After that, Zhou Xue and Wudong met smoothly. That's when they noticed that his assistant hadn't come in. So he scoffed, stealing that little white face. Sure enough, there was no way to enter the barrier. So that he won't hold us back. Touch ahead of time through them. I learned about the target Zhou Shilong's work and rest habits, and the way to go. So they chose to do it at night. In this way, it is not convenient for the enemy to hunt them down. Zhou Xue asked suspiciously, didn't you prepare a retreat route? Sycamore explained that it was still the old rule. Each of them left according to their ability. Outside the target villa, the remaining three lay in ambush again. And Zhou Xue is in a high place. Use sniper rifles for fire suppression. But Zhou Xue was very helpless. Ren Xiaosu didn't know where he went. If she doesn't come back, how can she help them suppress the fire? However, when she opened the sniper case, the whole person was angry. Ren Xiaosu. It's too bad. Forget about the disappearance of the person. Not even a sniper rifle left. Do you want me to smash the glass of someone's villa with a brick? Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu came to a bathing center alone. He's just successfully completed the D-class mission. Right now, just need to solve this C-class mission. But he was a little surprised. I didn't even see any other C-class killers appear. However, when he pushed the door in, the whole person was stunned. Is this a meeting with a gangster? Forget it. Cut it first, and then talk about it. Then a group of naked men rushed towards him. Bursts of gunfire erupted in the bathing center. At this time, the C-class killer who was ambushed outside realized it later. Wouldn't that be a killer when you just got in? Dozens of people inside just broke in. How can there be such a good peer? There must be no place to die. Let's get out. The sirens went off next door. Don't arrest us together. But they had just finished speaking. A figure stepped out of it. It looks like it's still intact. There was not the slightest injury. They exclaimed so fiercely. Is this still a human thing? Meanwhile, Zhou Yinxue gritted her teeth with 2 bricks. It's not human. Suddenly, he heard gunshots not far away. The first reaction was, isn't this Ren Xiaosu doing things? He was worried that the movement next door would affect the mission. That's when it happened. The ants on the upper floors of the street, the lads who opened the windows. Don't wander around here. Didn't you hear the gunshots? As a result of an ambush was discovered. They decided to retreat first. But just when they were about to go back, only to find that the lights in the house were turned on. There is also a faint sound of stir-frying. So they decided to find out. But when the door opened, he was dumbfounded. I saw Ren Xiaosu cooking with an apron. Zhou Yinxue explained awkwardly. I told her to contact the informant. So a step late. Then he called Ren Xiaosu out. You didn't cause this. Originally, they said they would do it today. As a result, you're not there. I panicked. Ren Xiaosu is right, you see. They say do it today. I'm going to make it impossible for them to do it today. They don't count. Besides, I have something to do. Zhou Yinxue was curious about what he was doing. Ren Xiaosu said that of course it was to do D-level and C-level tasks. Zhou Yinxue instantly showed a disdainful gaze. This is a legendary level transcendent. Also ran to grab people's prefecture-level tasks. Be ashamed. At this time, Ren Xiaosu reminded to be careful of these 4 people. I think if something happens in the mission, there's a good chance that these 4 will join forces to trick us. Zhou Yinxue said yes. What did the Lord say? Ren Xiaosu didn't react for a while. Zhou Yinxue said embarrassedly that it was nothing. It's a slip of the tongue. However, just got back to the room. Zhou Yinxue began to give orders to the assistant. Bring me my food. Ren Xiaosu was also amazed by the speed of a woman's face change. It's really fast. At this time, Wu Tong also did the same. Bring us our food too. Ren Xiaosu is embarrassed not to fight anywhere. I cooked for 2. Wu Tong was not angry and called the instructor that this was a safe house. Be careful about concealment. Don't mess with the kitchen. Ren Xiaosu replied to your safe house. Lights on at night. But no one cooked. Do you think it will not arouse suspicion from others? Don't underestimate the observation power of the rising sun masses. Sycamore was also dumbfounded. Then, he asked what the maximum effective range of the sniper rifle was. Zhou Yinxue opened her mouth and came within 2 kilometers. No problem. Ren Xiaosu squirted out a mouthful of rice. But you really dare to blow it for me. Sycamore policy wrote according to the plan. Tomorrow Zhou Shilong will go to the park to meet one. Very important characters. At that time, it will depend on Miss Zhou's sniper ability. Meanwhile, a celebratory car drove into the 73 barriers. That important figure is obviously Luo Fatsi. And the purpose of his here. It was actually to support Zhou Shilong's nuclear weapons research and development. It's coming. It's coming. When Ren Xiaosu carried out a first-level assassination mission. But I happened to meet Roland's visit to the target task. Zhou Shilong, in order not to injure Luo Fatsi by mistake. He could only wait quietly. At the moment when the 2 got up to say goodbye, Ren Xiaosu seized the opportunity. A shot was fired. Killed Zhou Shilong on the spot. Luo Fatsi immediately scolded. What a friend I just made. However, the next second, he was surrounded by Zhou's people as prisoners. You can't leave here now. Zhou Qi stood in front of Luo Fatsi. Get out of the way, or don't blame me for being rude. Zhou Qi wanted to use his extraordinary abilities. Was stopped by Luo Fatsi. This is a special barrier. Let's run. Those who are clear are self-purifying. I'll go with them. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu saw that Wudong and his party downstairs were sneaky. Just listen to the gunshots. 3 of Sycamore's teammates were killed instantly. Then Ren Xiaosu pulled up Zhou Yinxue and prepared to leave. Yesterday you said there was a way to track down the Sycamore. Let's go find him. Yet they were on their way to escape. Was targeted by 3 strangers. Zhou Yinxue asked if those people were from the Zhou family. Those were supposed to be informants. Once we sniped successfully, They're going to get rid of both of us. Death without proof at the same time. They will also be able to get the mission rewards without any problems. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu stopped. I don't know when. Zhou Yingxue was already surrounded by people. The old man. I saw Ren Xiaosu raise the gun and shoot. Several people in front of him were immediately shot and fell to the ground. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help complaining. You are also an extraordinary person. Why is the combat effectiveness so scummy? Meanwhile, Sycamore hides in another safe house. But as soon as he entered the door, he was pointed at the head with a gun. It turned out that Ren Xiaosu was crouching here in advance. It's a lot of work to find you. Raise your hands above your head. Help me ask your immortal. Where is Roland locked up? Zhou Yingxue suddenly realized the master. You're going to save Roland. Of course I saved. That's my friend. At this time, Wudong looked stunned. Zhou Yingxue actually called her grandfather. Feelings. This person is not a little white face. It's the thighs. At this time, Wudong asked curiously, how did you know about this safe house? I saw a 4-leaf clover appear out of thin air in Zhou Yingxue's hand. I can search for the whereabouts of the target person. Just crumple this 4-leaf clover in my hand. And then while you're not looking, rub the 4-leaf clover on you. Within 3 days, I can find you with this special smell. Wudong didn't give up and said, I'm teammates with you. What are you tying me up for? Isn't it clear what you did yourself? I killed the other 3. I didn't intend to leave room for you. Wudong was surprised and said that you killed it. It turns out that you were the sniper, Zhou Yingxue. I saw Zhou Yingxue looking like I was just a big girl. I only have 2 questions to answer. Okay, for you. First, let your informant find out where Roland is first. Wudong could only do it helplessly. Roland was imprisoned in the villa area of Hogwan Lake. Originally, he was arrested because he was suspected of bringing in the killer. But Zhou is not stupid, knowing that Roland didn't have to do that. After thinking for a moment, Ren Xiaosu asked, who is your immortal? Zhou Shilong, the head of the Order Division of Barrier 73, was assassinated. He is the ambassador of the Zhou family. If only he could solve the case. It is sure to have a high level of praise. It is even expected to compete for this barrier manager. Ren Xiaosu was quite contemptuous of this. It was really a death for money. Birds die for food. So Zhao Haochen didn't kill your teammates. Wudong 1510 confessed. I lied to you. At first, it was intended to make him a scapegoat. Then Ren Xiaosu deduced everything. After I killed him, you've made us scapegoats. After asking about it all, Zhou Yingxue took out a gun from her chest. Directly gave him a good time. After leaving, the system suddenly prompts a mission to save a friend from fire and water. Even if there is no such task, Ren Xiaosu will also save him. But Zhou Yingxue proposed to eat something before saving people. Make a detailed retreat plan. Then we'll eat here. After eating, set off. You can enter the store. Zhou Yingxue said that she wanted to go to the toilet first. At this time, a villa in Hogwan Lake. Zhou Qi told Luo Fatsi, the research troops are ready. Just kill this after that. Guan Hu was answered. Luo Fatsi seemed a little hesitant. Don't you dare to go. I'm afraid after leaving. You really can't wipe the shit off your ass. Fools know that I didn't do this. It's just that if you really want to kill it. More than 100 lives lurking in the 73 barriers. I got in. This road is a bloody road. I'm not joking with the lives of my men. Zhou Qi felt that he was a woman's person. Those who are below were born and died for you. It's for a bigger cause. Luo Fatsi suddenly retorted, no matter how big his career is, there can be a lot of human life. If someone really kills me, I'll leave right away. But now I know that Zhou won't kill me. Then I don't have to let my men take such a risk. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu had been waiting for Zhou Yingxue for 20 minutes. He guessed that Zhou Yingxue should have run away. After all, the pay is very generous. He also got Sycamore's account. Do you want to chase him out and kill him? Ren Xiaosu hesitated for a moment. I still think it's okay. He's just in this time of chaos. It's just an ordinary girl. Then he sighed. Just as he got up, Zhou Yingxue came back. Sir, let's go. Ren Xiaosu was surprised. How did you not run? I've thought about running for it too. But this world, I can't survive on my own. So since I hugged my thighs. Then call the police. After that they came to the outside of the villa. Zhou Yingxue asked Ren Xiaosu how to save him. He walked straight to the gate. At this time, the janitor immediately raised the alarm and stopped. Entry is not allowed here. Ren Xiaosu didn't seem to hear it at all. The next second, he knocked out the soldier with a punch. Immediately after that, more soldiers surrounded him. Ren Xiaosu's figure shuttled like lightning. Kills several soldiers in an instant. Zhou Yingxue, who was in the grass, was dumbfounded. Could it be that this is the strength of a legendary level transcendent? Have you ever seen someone who cheats on friends like this? After Ren Xiaosu killed the character target Zhou Xilong, it actually made Luo Fatsi inexplicably carry the black pot. He was imprisoned by the Zhou family in a villa in Hoguan Lake. In order to save friends from fire and water, Ren Xiaosu broke into the villa alone. Carrying Luo Fatsi, he was ready to run. As a result, Luo Fatsi shouted that he couldn't leave now. If you go this way, you will really become a criminal. Ren Xiaosu stopped abruptly. Although it seems to be the case. But if you don't save him, the task is not complete. Ren Xiaosu simply didn't do anything. No, if you don't leave today, you have to go. Luo Fatsi suddenly looked confused. What's going on? Ren Xiaosu ran all the way to the outside of the villa. Then they got into a car that came to pick them up. Luo Fatsi is not to mention how depressed he is at the moment. Xiaosu, what kind of trouble are you doing? How do you know I'm under house arrest? Wait, that shot won't be fired by you during the day. Ren Xiaosu suddenly felt weak. Haha, how could I pit you? I never do anything to pit friends. That's right now. The system sends a hint to complete the quest and rewards a point of agility. Then Ren Xiaosu immediately called Zhou Yingxue to stop. Since you don't want to run, let's go back then. Ren Xiaosu took out a voice recorder. There are 4 killers in this. Evidence of the assassination of Zhou Xilong by the director of the Department of Collusion and Order. How do you know I'm good for you? However, Luo Fat is not stupid. Know that the A-rank killer is a 5-person collaboration. So the 5th killer is you. Ren Xiaosu immediately waved his hand and refused the impossible. When pigs fly, I swear the 5th killer is a rice bucket. Do you think I'm like a rice bucket? Zhou Yingxue couldn't hold back in an instant. Why do you say that about me? Then there was a moment of silence in the carriage. Subsequently, Luo Fatsi smiled with relief. I said, Sniper, why didn't you grab it while Zhou Xilong was sitting? It turned out to be because I was too close. I'm afraid of hurting me by mistake. Ren Xiaosu gave a thumbs up to Luo Fat. Your IQ is really outstanding. Luo Fatsi was a little moved by this world for a while. There are a few people who can do it when the trigger is pulled. Thinking about not hurting your friends. After Luo Fatsi got out of the car, asked Ren Xiaosu a question. If one day you see my name appear in the mission text message, what will be done? Ren Xiaosu was relieved without hesitation. I'll be there. Luo Fat grinned. It is enough to have this sentence. Let's go Black World. On the way back, Ren Xiaosu fell asleep. Provoked Zhou Yingxue to complain about such a long road. Just let me drive it alone. Say what I don't drive for my own good. It's all excuses. Sure enough, the men are all big pigs trotters. However, Ren Xiaosu actually didn't sleep at all. He suddenly asked, your supernatural abilities. Is it limited to making those 3 seeds? Why is it so weak? The old man said that hitting people is not a slap in the face. It's too much for you to say I'm weak to your face. Then Ren Xiaosu asked him to find a place to stop and rest. By the way, look at his abilities. How did you awaken to your abilities? Zhou Yingxue recalled. Unfortunately, he was shot during a mission. After waking up from a coma, I found that I could condense a seed out of thin air. Ren Xiaosu didn't expect his awakening to be so simple. Can you communicate with other plants? Zhou Yingxue was puzzled. Plants don't have minds. How to communicate? Then Ren Xiaosu asked her to sit here. Close your eyes and take a good look at the plants around you. Ren Xiaosu didn't guess wrong. Potato shooters didn't attack her before. Most likely, it's because she has a plant affinity. I don't know how strong this affinity is. As a result, she didn't wait for Zhou Yingxue to perceive anything. The stomach was the first to bark. She said embarrassedly, "Sir, I was hungry," and Ren Xiaosu was instantly furious. "You give me a good feeling of closing my eyes. If nothing comes of it, you don't have to eat." Then Zhou Yingxue became more focused. Suddenly, a wave of green energy emerged from all around him. Ren Xiaosu was stunned. Zhou Yingxue excitedly said that he felt it. He looked at a tree beside him. Then he held out his hand. Seized control. Immediately after he established contact with the potato shooter, Zhou Yingxue was surprised and said that she couldn't control him. Ren Xiaosu seemed to have figured it out in an instant. A potato shooter who has been injected with power by Zhou Yingxue. It is true that it can be controlled by him, but just get involved. He couldn't control it. Most importantly, he now has 100 potatoes in his magazine. Just as they were going to rest here tonight, a convoy of vehicles drove up. There were a group of young men and girls sitting in the car. At this time, Ren Xiaosu seemed to find out. The car has the logo of Qinghe Group. These are the people who represent the Qinghe Group. That's when it happened. The car stopped suddenly. "Excuse me, is this road to Zhou's?" Ren Xiaosu pressed the brim of his hat. "Walk about 300 kilometers south to Zhou Shuji. After discussing with my classmates, I decided to camp here tonight." At this time, the girl on the side exclaimed, "Look, the jujube tree was all red. Zhou Yingxue protects my esophagus. This is my jujube tree. Isn't this a date tree that grows in the wilderness? How did it become yours?" Zhou Yingxue said, "Everything in the wilderness is on a first-come, first-served basis." At this time, Ren Xiaosu observed 5 cars. 17 people, 9 males and 8 females, indicate that there is at least one single dog. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu noticed something. "I saw that Zhou Yingxue was constantly climbing up the tree. What are you doing?" "I plucked all the dates from the tree. Save people from worrying." Then, Ren Xiaosu asked, "What do you think they are?" Zhou Yingxue said, "You can enter and exit the fortress at will with the Qinghe sign. How is this also the son of a dignitary in Los Angeles?" Meanwhile, the student who was camping on the side complained, "Why only him? Our jujube trees are ripe. The dates around us are sour to death." Suji said, "Don't see what others want. What is not yours is not yours." Wang Baijun pointed at Ren Xiaosu and said, "What do you say is the relationship between that couple and a man?" "Couples? The girl must have been 25 or 16 years old. Is it a sibling love?" Suji reminded not to provoke them. People who can walk alone in this wilderness are not ordinary. Wang Baijun patted the gun behind him. "I'm afraid of what? Let's come out with a gun this time. Guns are not a panacea. We're going out on our own this time. If something really happens, our school will have to be punished. Drink less, everybody. It's wilderness after all." Wang Baijun held up the wine bottle and didn't care. "I'm afraid of something. I follow my uncle in the wilderness all year round. The wilderness isn't as scary as you think." Suji could only shake his head helplessly. The two of them felt the excitement in the distance from afar. At this time, Zhou Yingxue thought of something suddenly. "I've been feeling like something is wrong with plants lately. They always feel that their thirst for nutrients is extremely urgent. There is a feeling that I have to evolve. But this kind of bullet feels very vague. Ren Xiaosu was very concerned after hearing this. Fish meat and bones discarded in the mountains will disappear. I always thought it was the test subject. Now I wonder if there could be something wrong with that woods. A group of men and women in the wilderness play truth or dare. The girl lost. Asked to kiss a strange man. Zhou Yingxue excitedly pulled Master Ren Xiaosu. You're going to have a good fortune. But before the girl could speak, Ren Xiaosu glared back with fierce eyes. The girl was startled, fleeing in a panic. Classmates see this. Curious, you look scared. Isn't it that they say something unpleasant? The girl trembled and explained that she had coaxed herself. Zhou Yingxue looked puzzled, and the old man had a cheap price. What is not accounted for? Because I have someone I like. Then Ren Xiaosu said unpleasantly. In the wilderness, one by one, they drank like this. It's really the way to die. Zhou Yingxue doesn't think so. Zhou Yuan is not as peaceful as our southwest and northwest. However, Ren Xiaosu suddenly summoned the space. A pistol was taken out of it. Zhou Yingxue's face was full of doubts. I only heard Ren Xiaosu whisper to remind someone that someone was coming. Meanwhile, a group of armed men was lurking in the woods, and their muzzles. It is aiming at the college students of the Qinghe group. They slowly approached. But this group of college students is unaware of the danger. Only Su Ji discovered the situation for the first time. Hurriedly and loudly reminded that there were people in the woods. Be careful, everyone. Just as he reached out to grab his gun, a gun was held against his head. Don't even move your hands and squat down with your head in your hands. It should be noted that Ren Xiaosu was observed. The two were also controlled. Ren Xiaosu understood. These are mercenaries who specialize in doing dirty work. He was going to take a look first. At this time, a student trembled. Is there some misunderstanding? We're just ordinary students. I saw the mercenary take out a mobile phone. Call your dad. 10 million in cash. We're going to do it in 7 days. Su Jiying's face was calm. And ye shall not be afraid of the knights. The knight is not working for your family. Su Ji's face suddenly became a little embarrassed. In Ren Xiaosu's concept, the knight organization and the Qinghe group should be the same thing. But the mercenary apparently knew something. You can follow here. The time was so accurate. May I ask who revealed the news? You tell me. I immediately called my father. The mercenary pointed at Wang Baijuan's head. Be your good friend. We promised him. After the deed is completed, give him 2 million. This shocked everyone. Su Zheng gritted his teeth and sought the skin of the tiger. Wang Baijun knelt down and apologized to my uncle. Uncle asked me to do this. That's not what I'm going to do. The mercenaries are directly exposed. Isn't the money you want? That's not what your uncle wants. Now Wang Baijun couldn't tell it all. Su Ji said, You help me kill this inner ghost and his uncle. I can ask my father to give you double the price. The mercenary gave him the phone after agreeing. I only heard Su Ji say on the phone that I was kidnapped. The mastermind is Wang Baijuan's family. You don't need to save me. They are ready to extinguish their mouths. You take care of yourself. The mercenary sneered. I have always heard that the people of Qinghe group are tough. I finally saw it today. As long as you're alive, though, your father must be happy to pay for the ransom. That's when it happened. Ren Xiaosu's side has already put down all the people. Immediately after that, gunshots rang out. Several mercenaries were killed instantly. It turned out to be Ren Xiaosu who was ambushed in the woods. At this point, a mercenary threatens to shoot again. I killed these students. Zhou Yingxue looked indifferent. Kill? We don't know each other anyway. Just as the mercenaries were preparing to retreat, vines suddenly emerged from the ground, wrapped their bodies around. After a while, all the mercenaries were controlled. I saw Zhou Yingxue walking out angrily. Just because you still want to kill me. Su Ji's face instantly turned slightly red. Was obviously attracted by Zhou Yingxue's posture. He grinned and said, The reward of 2 million for saving lives is not too much. Under the temptation of beauty, Su Ji also decisively beat the money. Before leaving, Su Ji wanted to ask him for his name. As a result, Zhou Yingxue waved her hand. Just ask about the identity. We're not going to cross paths. Turning his head, he shouted at Ren Xiaosu, Sir. We're done. A week later in the classroom of Tsinghua University, talked about Su Ji's rescue. The classmates discussed the man and the woman, saving people from mercenaries. Yang Xiaojin listened silently on the side. At this time, a classmate asked Xiaojing, You're from outside L.A. Is it really as dangerous out there as they say? It's a little more dangerous than they say. You didn't say you didn't like the flowers in the greenhouse. And how about this sniper boy? Yang Xiaojing said that I have someone I like. The classmate said disdainfully. Then the person you like is definitely not as good as this boy. At this time, 61 barriers outside the Market Town Tavern. The storyteller is talking about a teenager with a maid. The story of the end of the sword. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but be a little surprised. Did the things in the wilderness get here so quickly? When he made eye contact with the fawn turned away and pretended not to know him. Ren Xiaosu didn't know why. Until he saw it. The woman who looked like Yang Xiaojin appeared. At night, Xiaolu knocked on Ren Xiaosu's door. He came out of his way to explain why he was ignored today. Grandpa specially explained. The woman will see you again when she comes. Be sure to pretend you don't know. Ren Xiaosu couldn't help but be curious. What the hell is this woman coming from? Make your grandpa so vigilant. The fawn shook his head to indicate that he did not know. I only know that she is a very powerful transcendent. At this time, the fawn asked, Are you going to do the mission? How to walk is half a month. The guy who would carry the maid with a sniper rifle, wasn't it? Ren Xiaosu directly pretended to be stupid and stunned. What a sniper rifle. Do you think I look like a maid? Xiaolu suddenly felt that she was thinking too much. Then she shyly asked, Will you come to the tavern again tomorrow? Yuan Xiaolu plans to leave tomorrow. Because before figuring out the identity of that woman, she is not very suitable for frequent women, sneaked to the bank to withdraw money. With a string of passwords entered, the account balance showed 5.2 million. Zhou Yingxue was directly stunned. There was more money in Sycamore's account than she did. So much money. No matter which barrier you go to, it can take a lifetime. She fantasized about retiring early. As a result, she began to struggle. Although he ran away with the money, the Lord will not hunt him down. But in such troubled times, it's rare to see such a reliable thigh. Zhou Yingxue thought for a while. Forget it, although the Lord looks cold. But my heart is hot. Follow him, even if there is an accident one day. He will save me too. But when you make money, you have to spend it. He came to the casinos on the black market, changed the chips for $500. But he didn't dare to bet. After all, that's 500 yuan. What if you lose? As a result, he was surprised by the customer service. I exchanged 500 chips for cash. But he had no idea that he was being targeted. Due to Zhou Yingxue, all his teammates died in these two missions. He was the only one who survived. And Jinsi suspects that he is suspected of eating black. Meanwhile, when Ren Xiaosu came to the black market to open a house, I unexpectedly saw someone from Tinder. Appears here. Although there is something strange about it. But he didn't think much of it. Shortly after returning to the room, Zhou Yingxue is back. Ren Xiaosu hit. I thought you were taking the money and leaving. Zhou Yingxue just sighed. Then the teacher gave him 80% of the money he had withdrawn. Ren Xiaosu said, In the future, the cost of the task will be deducted from this account. After all, you still have a sick mother who needs medical expenses. That's right. I just saw the folks from Tinder in the lobby. How can they make a big fuss? Go to the black market with a sign. Shouldn't everyone shout at Tinder? Zhou Yingxue said that this is normal. After all, Tinder only captures the extraordinary. And it's only started in recent years. Many transcendents don't know it yet. It is said that the relationship between Tinder and Tsinghua Group is very good. Tinder has been using this black market for a long time. And the Tinder company, it has never been under the control of Tsinghua Group. Capture the transcendent within the perimeter. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu diverted the topic. You haven't been out on the black market these days, have you? Zhou Yingxue covered her mouth weakly and said, Sir, do you think I'm the kind of person who swaggers? Ren Xiaosu asked. Didn't go to the casino. Didn't go. My father was in debt for gambling. My mother died without money for treatment. Suddenly, the air was quiet. Ren Xiaosu's face was gloomy. What did you say? So whether your mother is dead or alive? Zhou Yingxue quibbled. Didn't I make a slip of the tongue? Ren Xiaosu was full of anger. I look like someone who is so easy to deceive. Zhou Yingxue immediately relented when she saw this. Aren't I afraid that you will kill me, master? I'm a weak woman. Tell a lie when you're out and about. Isn't that normal? Ren Xiaosu fell into deep thought. Sure enough, in this world, there will be no trust between people. That's when it happened. The phone rang suddenly. The Lord has a new mission. This time it's a conservation mission. Protecting the number 62 barrier female singer tour. However, the cycle of this mission is a bit long. Pathway 37 barriers. A total of 12 performances. Zhou Yingxue was a little hesitant about this task. Ren Xiaosu immediately said that he wanted to take it, because she always feels. This task. It's very similar to the situation when the band was escorted to Jingshan. Maybe this female singer is also a thug person. If that's the case, she will soon be able to find the young lady. Moreover, and Jing 4 knew Zhou Yingxue's identity. So the probability of receiving a task should be high. Sure enough, Zhou Yingxue just sent out a message. I received a reply. You have been selected by an employer. The other party demands. You'll be on the black market outside Los Angeles in 48 hours. However, the precaution was that Zhou Yingxue collapsed on the spot. You can't go to bed earlier than your employer every day. You can't get up later than your employer. You can't eat meat, parsley, and chopped green onions in front of your employer. As he slumped, there were 81 of them. Things that can't be done. Zhou Yingxue was suddenly unhappy. I am a professional killer. Hey, it's the same as a female bodyguard. I have to be a grandson. A week after the results. The employer still hasn't arrived. Zhou Yingxue suddenly became angry. Is the time of a first-level killer so worthless? Suddenly, he received a text message. The employer did not arrive at the destination at the agreed time. The mission was canceled this time. The other party paid a deposit of 1 million. It will also be transferred to your account. The employer said that if it continues to wait, an additional 2.5 million yuan can be paid as lost time pay. What are these words? I, Zhou Yingxue, seem to lack those 2.5 million people. Then, Ren Xiaosu gradually said, then why don't you retire the task? Zhou Yingxue said that it was a fool's money. If you don't earn it, you don't earn it for nothing. Turning his head, he said aggrievedly, Master, aren't you angry? Ren Xiaosu really let him not think about it so much. Wait for the singer to come. I just need to say one word. The other person will immediately change their attitude. After 3 days, they finally got their employer. This lineup is much larger than Luo Sinyu's travel number at the beginning. Zhou Yingxue saw this. Mockingly, I had heard about it. The stars of the Central Plains are used to not being the same. The financial field is bigger than the members of the consortium. Few people in this world love to read. Nothing interesting mental activity. It's all going to chase stars. All of them are like believers. I can't wait to have it all. Are dedicated to their favorite stars. Ren Xiaosu agrees. Although the age of spiritual deprivation, it's easy to get obsessed with something. But this is not enough to become the capital for him to play a big name. Then Zhou Yingxue talked about gossip. The backers of these stars are all important figures in the consortium. Some people are ostensibly godfathers. Actually, it is. The words are not finished yet. A car pulled up in front of them. Then a beautiful woman rolled down the window. Are you the bodyguard this time? Zhou Yingxue greeted with a smile. Look at me, please advise. As a result, after the female star got out of the car, directly ignored her handshake. Vulgar, then he pointed to Ren Xiaosu and asked who he was. Zhou Yingxue explained that this was one of my assistants. Female stars continue to complain about dressing up rustic. It's like being a student. Ren Xiaosu was sprayed inexplicably. I was speechless for a moment. Zhou Yinxue secretly liked to provoke my master in her heart. Beware of accidents in the future. At this time, Ren Xiaosu coughed his throat. Zhou Yinxue looked forward to seeing what he said. Make the other person change their attitude. I just listened to Ren Xiaosu and said in a low voice, "Do you know Yang Xiaojin?" Drunken female celebrities throw themselves into their arms. The boy was not only indifferent. Even a slap knocked him unconscious. Thrown out of the room. It turned out that Ren Xiaosu was looking for Miss Yang. Took on an A-level task to protect female stars. He guessed that the female star was a thug person. As a result, after he broke Yang Xiaojin's name, the female star was indifferent. Ren Xiaosu thought he was pretending, so I leaned into his ear. Say the room number of your hotel. This directly made Zhou Yinxue on the side dumbfounded. The old man is too powerful, isn't it? The first time we met, we gave the room number directly. As a result, the female star waved her hand and left. Your assistant looks okay, but people are too sloppy. The brain is not good yet. After the female star left, his assistant walked over. Our boss is special. I ask for your forgiveness. Seeing that the assistant has such a good attitude, Zhou Yinxue was a little angry. Results 7 days later. The female star still has no intention of going on tour. They weren't even informed by the itinerary notice. Ren Xiaosu was also a little helpless to be reasonable. If he is a thug person, I heard that I asked him about Yang Xiaojin. There should always be some reaction. As a result, 7 days passed. He never came to me. It feels like this time the miscalculation was made. It's overturned. Xiaojing didn't find it, and let Zhou Yinxue see it. Jokes. Ren Xiaosu thought about not being angry. Is it still possible to cancel a task? It's a big deal that will give him the money back. As soon as I heard about the refund, Zhou Yinxue suddenly became anxious. That's not going to work. If you want to participate in the Ankyo 4 selection, complete 5 A-level tasks in 1 year. There must be no failure records yet. Ren Xiaosu will be skeptical. Are the requirements really so harsh? That's when it happened. There was a knock on their hotel door. The two of them were instantly alert. It can be seen from a cat's eye. Outside is a well-dressed female star. Ren Xiaosu immediately opened the door and asked Yang Xiaojin. As a result, a female star who smelled of alcohol snapped the door shut. Then he began to throw himself into his arms. Ren Xiaosu retreated again and again. This means that this is an additional price. Didn't you tell Yang Xiaojin about me here? Are you a thug or not? The female star asked rhetorically, is Yang Xiaojin your girlfriend? I've paid you so much. Lose me. I can add money. Ren Xiaosu has never seen this kind of posture, facing a shyly female star. I was at a loss for what to do. He simply slapped him unconscious with a palm. Zhou Yinxue covered her mouth and smirked at her grandfather. It's so dangerous, you almost lost your life. Ren Xiaosu ignored his ridicule. Instead, he looked out the window vigilantly. There are no snipers. It seems that this is not a prank. Ren Xiaosu had a headache when he was made of such a fuss. Hurriedly asked Zhou Yinxue to help her into the house. The next day at breakfast, Zhou Yinxue couldn't help laughing. Master, you don't know after the female star Li Ran woke up how skeptical life is. She is a big star who takes the initiative to go to someone else's room. Was knocked unconscious and thrown out. When the two meet again, Li Ran glared at him viciously. Ren Xiaosu was speechless. And the tour officially starts today. At the time of barrier number 77 in Jinju. Plenty of fans in. We are waiting for help. Li Ran also signed autographs one by one. Seeing this, Zhou Yinxue immediately urged the crowd to be dense here. There is a potential safety hazard to be buried. Please pass as soon as possible. Li Ran's assistant said. This is a great opportunity for him to get close to his fans. Please Miss Zhou not to interfere too much. Zhou Yinxue complained that his security awareness was too poor. In such a place, if someone hides a knife and stabs him, The gods can't stop them when they come. Ren Xiaosu told him not to meddle in his affairs. That's when it happened. The phone rang suddenly. After seeing it, Ren Xiaosu said that he was going to go out. Zhou Yingxue was suddenly unhappy. Do you have to do the task alone again? You've always left me alone. I'm panicking. As a result, Ren Xiaosu said that you should deal with this side well. Thinking about the money you get from selling your phone, it's split into 2%. I heard that you can take money for nothing. Zhou Yingxue immediately showed a happy look. I wish you all the best in your mission. Li Ran saw Ren Xiaosu acting without authorization. Immediately asked Zhou Yingxue what was going on. To ensure your safety, I let him out to scout. Li Ran was arrogant and unreasonable to let him come back. You have to stay by my side. Zhou Yingxue said that it was me who took the task. This does not include Ren Xiaosu. Li Ran listened. Suddenly lost his temper. In the evening, Zhou Yingxue soaked her feet comfortably, while waiting for the master to come back. As a result, when Ren Xiaosu came back, both pockets are bulging. Then he took out 6 mobile phones. Zhou Yingxue was dumbfounded. These are all you just grabbed. Ren Xiaosu's proud waist is not the same. You can't do that, sir. The people on the side of Anjin Temple took a look. Killers disappear where the touring team passes. I'm sure to be suspicious. Ren Xiaosu sighed. Apparently I didn't hear a word. That's when it happened. The phone publishes the task again. Ren Xiaosu asked him to reply to this task, and we took it. As a result, the task failed to be picked. Zhou Yingxue was dumbfounded. Anjin Temple said, we are on a mission to protect Li Ran. It may affect the execution of new tasks, but he doesn't need our protection at all. This situation, we have every time for other tasks. Ren Xiaosu told him not to worry. After thinking for a moment, he prepared to go out. It didn't take long for the results to be. Ren Xiaosu directly carried the target back. Zhou Yingxue was a little puzzled. We didn't take the task. What are you carrying him on? Ren Xiaosu said. As long as the killer who receives the mission can't find the mission target, then the mission fails. You can rest assured. Besides, it was very smooth when young Lycan was arrested. The people who saw me were dead. Zhou Yingxue smiled unkindly, haha. You can also do this. Followed by, young Lycan was tied up and thrown into the closet. Ren Xiaosu reminded Zhou Yingxue. Hang a do not disturb sign at the door. Just wait 3 days. You can ask Ankyo Temple for a task. Zhou Yingxue suddenly blossomed with joy. Hee. Follow such a grandfather. There's really nothing that can't be done. Then he heard the sound of hurried footsteps. Ren Xiaosu wondered why you were going. Zhou Yingxue turned around and replied to take a bath. Then he struck a seductive pose. Grandpa, do you want to be together? Ren Xiaosu was beaten by the molester department. Zhou Yingxue gloated and replied well. 3 days later, young Lycan shivered in the closet. Zhou Yingxue operated on the mobile phone. Young Lycan is in my hands. Please send me the task quickly. Zhou Yingxue said uneasily, Master. We're a bit of kidnappers. Although the hard rush task is a bit excessive, but it's not a big problem. Then, a reply from the mobile phone can be used to receive the task reward after killing. Zhou Yingxue was so excited that the task was completed. The next day they set out on the tour again. Zhou Yingxue kept complaining in the car, which really me off. Safety advice with them today. All ignored. I told them to refuel before they left. Is it wrong to have a few spare tires? Why don't they listen? Ren Xiaosu said. This is called good words that cannot be persuaded. Damn it. Zhou Yingxue raised her hands in agreement. They just don't clean it up. If only something really happened. The result is the next second. The cars were punctured by pre-buried wires in the ground. Crashed into a ball. Zhou Yingxue was suddenly shocked. It's over. Something really happened. Female celebrities hire bodyguards to travel. But he didn't listen to the bodyguards at all. As a result, he was slapped in the face. It turned out that the convoy passed by a nail. All the vehicles that followed were killed. At this time, Ren Xiaosu moved out of the tent directly from the car. Li Ran still didn't know why. What are you pitching tents for? Ren Xiaosu replied while setting up a tent. I don't think the rescue team will be able to come today. So just camp right next to it. Li Ran felt a little ridiculous. Barrier 78 is not far away. It's only a 3 or 4 hour drive. Ren Xiaosu didn't bother to take care of him anymore. Rescue of the barricades in the wilderness. It's a dream. Assistant Li Ran asked. Do you need to let them vacate a tent? As a result, Li Ran didn't bother to live in a tent at all. Just say you're waiting in the car. Zhou Yingxue saw this. A wicked smile was revealed. It was late at night. He walked to the car, knocked on the window. He asked with a smile on his face, do you feel groggy or not? It's also a little disgusting. I saw Li Ran sweating all over his head. Pale face. What have you done to me? Zhou Yingxue said that when the car stopped in place. Don't turn on the cold air. You've got carbon monoxide poisoning. As a result, a group of them were forced to get out of the car. Feel the biting cold of the night. At this time, Li Ran finally couldn't bear it. Put down the sub. Asked, can I sleep in a tent with you? Zhou Yingxue refused. There is no such clause in the contract. Li Ran moved out directly. The contract does not sleep earlier than the employer's contract. Zhou Yingxue looked indifferent. It was fine. Big deal. I don't sleep anymore. This suddenly made Li Ran angry. Meanwhile, a convoy of vehicles approached in the wilderness. I heard their shouts from afar to change the tires. 20,000 yuan each. Tong Su is not bullied. At this time, there was no one in the group who said a word. This is obviously a fire robbery. How can anyone repair tires and repair cars with heavy machine guns? Ren Xiaosu in the tent was suddenly stunned. He seemed to hear the voice of an old acquaintance. Seeing that the crowd was silent, the man on the roof of the car suddenly became impatient. Do you change the tires or not? We're in a hurry to go somewhere else. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu beckoned Wang Ergu in the crowd. You've really come to the Central Plains. I saw an acquaintance. Wang Ergu immediately beckoned his teammates to put the gun down. At this time, Ren Xiaosu pointed to his lame leg. Wang Ergu said that he often walks by the river. There is no one who does not get his shoes wet. Fortunately, the man didn't kill him. Just broke a leg. Don't you have heavy machine guns? What a stubble. Not even a heavy machine gun. Wang Ergu sighed. There are no characters in this wilderness. Then they saw a woman. Drive around the wilderness by your own car. I thought this business was stable. The results didn't wait for them to see. It was all cleaned up by the woman. He manipulates the sand. Bury us all. Ren Xiaosu suddenly asked the woman you said. Isn't wearing a black cap. Wang Ergu said that it was him. Did you mess with him too? Ren Xiaosu suddenly waved his hand, but he didn't. Previously he doubted. The woman was the one behind the manipulation of the paper cranes. I didn't expect him to be able to manipulate sand. Then, Wang Ergu greeted, since he met Xiaosu here. Then we will repair your car for free. Li Ran is not good. Is so angry that Ren Xiaosu's face is so big. Wang Ergu said with a smile. Heavy snow covers the mountains every year. We are stranded in the wilderness and lost. Fortunately, Ren Xiaosu appeared and saved our lives. After a period of reminiscence, Wang Ergu also sent someone to repair the tires. He pointed at Zhou Yingxue and said, You are the woman of Ren Xiaosu's brothers. Zhou Yingxue intervened and said that he was my assistant. Wang Ergu had an expression that he had already seen through. I'm reading it. Privately, you two can't tell who listens to whom. Zhou Yingxue pursed her lips angrily. But I can't refute it. So he gossiped curiously, you see. What is the relationship between brother Xiaosu and that female star? Wang Ergu said that my brother doesn't like that. Zhou Yingxue suddenly showed a satisfied smile. After the tires are repaired, Wang Ergu also said goodbye to Ren Xiaosu and left. Assistant Li Ran frowned. Do you want us to ask General Wang for advice? They were encircled and suppressed. Li Ran said that this is Zhou's territory. How to encircle and suppress. This kind of person really wants to deal with. It's actually quite simple. Just find someone to do it secretly. And we also need to be vigilant about this small person. After all, you can be called a brother and sister with this kind of indiscriminate person. There must be a problem too. It doesn't matter anymore, as long as the Tao can solve the problem. Meanwhile, the area of Huffing Mountain to the east of the Qingshi fortress. A group of soldiers is on a mission. They were ordered to come here to encircle and suppress the test subjects. Suddenly, there was movement in the distance. A soldier alerted that the unknown creature was approaching. At this time, a soldier stepped forward to investigate. It turned out to be a wild boar. I saw the soldiers leaping high. Then it plunged. The beast was easily dealt with a single blow. Danger lifted. The A9 troops will continue to advance. At this time, Qing Yi of the command immediately asked his subordinates, "Measure the speed and strength of the soldier just now." Reported to have just increased the user's strength speed by 300%. Qing Yi said that he would continue to calculate. He wants to know how many nanomachines are injected into each soldier's body. The robot is suitable. Then he turned his head. Yang's nanorobot research team in Asahari City. Opening. Nanobots. This thing is still in the hands of my in-laws. To play his role, isn't it? He looks at the screen. Suddenly, there was a sudden startle. A place where a large number of test subjects are gathered. How can there be such a fox as a wild boar? Then he immediately gave his order. Quickly concentrate forces and advance aggressively. Check the range of Huffing Mountain. However, after several hours of searching, they got nothing. Only one was found. A lot of paper documents are still burning. At this time, Qing Yi's heart was full of questions. Do these test subjects have such a high IQ? Could they read the documents? Will it still be destroyed? Tinder's experiments before the cataclysm. What kind of monster was created? At this time, Qingji received a call from Qing Yi. Subject is missing. I suspect that they went to the Central Plains. Qingji opened his mouth and told Zhou. Let them take precautions. Qing Yi couldn't understand why he reminded Zhou. Wouldn't it be better to let them suffer losses? It was the people in the fortress who were unlucky. And now we need to join forces against the royal family together. You have to understand the truth of cold lips and teeth. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaosu followed the convoy to the 718 barrier. Zhou Yingshue's face was full of unhappiness. If only the team had listened to my advice. We have already reached the barrier. That's when it happened. And Jinji has released the quest again. And the goal of this mission is a member of the Tinder company team that kills. Most importantly, only those who succeeded in this hunt to be eligible to participate in the selection of Jinji Temple next spring. The boy was not a doctor, but they are stitching the wounded, and there is no anesthetic. But no one blamed him. Was even willing to bid 500,000 yuan to beg him to sew. It turned out not so long ago. Ren Xiaosu received the task issued by Anjin Temple. The goal is to kill the Tinder company squad members, and only those who succeed in hunting, to be eligible to participate in the selection of Anjin Temple. Zhou Yingxue suddenly said helplessly, "Every day makes me inseparable from him. How do I get to Barrier 73? Ren Xiaosu also fell into thinking for a while. Suddenly, he had an idea. I'll go and bring people back and kill them. Zhou Yingshue's face was speechless. Can your mind not always be so hardcore? That being said, but for a while, he couldn't think of any other way. Ren Xiaosu reassured him. When things are at the worst, they will mend. So when the convoy arrived at the hotel, Ren Xiaosu left alone. But this scene happened to be seen by Li Ran. Zhou Yingxue immediately explained that he just want to buy snacks to eat. But Li Ran told him that I was going to have a dinner party tonight. I'm afraid you don't have time for snacks. Soon after, Ren Xiaosu smoothly touched the number 73 barrier. It's like letting people in on purpose. He couldn't help but speculate. Could it be that the Zhou clan wanted to borrow the power of the killer of Anjin Temple? To counterbalance the Tinder company. That's when it happened. A man stopped Ren Xiaosu. He reminded, "Don't run around East Lake for the last few days. It's not safe here lately. Many cows, ghosts, snakes, and gods are gathered here." When leaving, Ren Xiaosu asked him if he was from the order division. As a result, the man replied no. But Ren Xiaosu noticed the red cloth in the man's pocket. That's when the knight was masked on a mission. But why knight's organization? It's going to be mixed with Tinder. What the hell are they looking for in East Lake? After that, Ren Xiaosu also ran out of sweat. So he went to a bathing center to take a bath. It turned out to be full of big brothers with arm tattoos. Ren Xiaosu not only did not panic, he also took the initiative to ask about the meaning of the big brother tattoo. I just listened to the eldest brother say slowly. Because I was born 30 years ago. March 11th, a stormy night. As soon as I heard this beginning, Ren Xiaosu suddenly felt that this big brother must have a story. As a result, the eldest brother said that March 11th is Pisces. So I tattooed 2 fish. Ren Xiaosu was embarrassed on the spot. Is this how these people get their tattoos? So you belong to the tiger. The other big brother is the dragons. Suddenly, the air fell silent. The eldest brother roared angrily, "Who the hell are you? Do we know you well?" That's when it happened. A younger brother came here with a serious injury. The eldest brother immediately stepped forward to ask what was going on. The other guests fled in frenzy. The younger brother said that he happened to meet the opponent and was stabbed twice. The eldest brother suddenly held his hand with tears in his eyes. Let's take lightning protection at number 73. I can't go to the hospital. You can go without worry. We will take care of your wife and children. The little brother trembled his hands. Said that he could still rescue it. Aren't we exposed as soon as you go to the hospital? The year before us. Kidnapping the children of the Zhou family. If you get caught, it's just a death. Just when the little brother was in despair, Ren Xiaosu walked over. I can stitch up his wounds, and promised to let him heal in 3 days. But 500,000 a life is not too much. The younger brother suddenly shouted that it was not too much. I have money. I saw that Ren Xiaosu took out a silver needle and had money. The eldest brother on the side questioned that this was a needle for sewing clothes. And everyone else's anesthetic. Don't you even take anesthetics? Ren Xiaosu said that he still paid attention to so much at this time. It's good to have one life left. So Ren Xiaosu was like sewing clothes. Stitch up the man's wound. The little brother's heart is broken at the moment. You might as well let me die. Apply black medicine to the wound. The little brother was so comfortable that tears welled up in his eyes. Thank you so much. The system prompts a thank you from Zheng Hongning. At the same time, the eldest brother also gave him a thumbs up. Little brother. What to call you? Just call me a doctor. Then, the little brother poked Ren Xiaosu with some embarrassment. Dr. Ren, can you take the thread apart? Sew me again. Look at my chest. It was supposed to be a dragon. As a result, you got the sewing crooked. Ren Xiaosu was so embarrassed that he didn't say anything. Don't really say it. This tattoo is our face. The decapitated dragon doesn't look lucky. Dr. Ren, do you have after-sales service or anything? Ren Xiaosu said that we are dressed in black. Refusal of after-sales service is our service tenet. I'm going to say that you shouldn't get a tattoo in the industry. Fight and kill all day long. It's hard to stitch up a wound. After hearing this, the younger brother suddenly looked helpless. However, it has just ended. Another wounded man walked in the doorway. Dr. Ren will treat my brother again. You can have money. The price is still 500,000. The injured person patted his chest and said it was fine. A few days after I had money. Whenever needed. Human vegetarian treatment bath. And there will be a red cone at the door. Ren Xiaosu wondered, why don't you stay well? Keep fighting like this. I'm afraid Tinder hasn't found the entrance to the lab yet. And you are all in ruin. Before I met you, we share that concern. But now it's up to you to heal the wounds. They must be the first to be destroyed. At this time, Ren Xiaosu hesitated. Let me ask something. In which bathing center are they? The eldest brother listened. I was in a hurry. I'll pay you another 1 million. Don't go and heal them. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu smiled, or else. I'm going to help you get them in one pot. How much do you say it's worth? The eldest brother laughed when he heard this. Dr. Ren just loves to joke. They have guns in their hands. It's not something you can do as a doctor. Don't underestimate us. That's when it happened. The phone rang suddenly. Tinder is looking for a lab entrance. The laboratory is suspected to be located inside the East Lake Tunnel. The eldest brother immediately cheered up the younger brothers. Get ready to work. At this time, Ren Xiaosu also got up to say goodbye. He understood. This text message from Ankins was clearly a declaration of war on the Tinder. This moment. I'm afraid there are countless cows, ghosts, snakes, and gods who are rushing inside. Outside the East Lake Tunnel at this time, quite a few people are rushing inside. The lab is inside. Don't let them run out of stuff. Ren Xiaosu was lying on the lawn outside the tunnel. Observe silently, because neither the Tinder nor the Knights have yet to show up. He was unlucky. An organization with 8 walls in the Central Plains will be picked up by a few text messages from Ankyo Temple. The tunnel is at the bottom of the lake. It's still a confined space. If the tunnel collapses, it's really hard for the people inside to come out alive, because the situation is too chaotic. Ren Xiaosu summoned a black shadow. Let him explore the truth and the truth. Meanwhile, a group of people rushed over with cameras on their shoulders. Pick these things out quickly. Make a documentary about the transcendent. We're on fire. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu was stunned. He found that Wang Tsongyang was also among them. Then, someone in the crew suggested that we wait and wait. Why don't you go and interview the boy lying on his stomach over there? After the director took a look, it means that the boy doesn't look very powerful. It doesn't feel like it's transcendent. Suddenly, he spotted a black shadow wearing a mask on the side. Hurry up and interview the masked one. That's pretty powerful at first glance. Ren Xiaosu was speechless for a moment. These people are in order to be famous. I really don't want to die. Suddenly, everyone's phones rang at the same time. Killers, don't act rashly. Please look outside the tunnel. At this time, someone raised his mobile phone and said, anyone who has a mobile phone should be Ankins's killer. I feel like we should join forces. Hunt Tinder company members. However, the black shadow rushed forward at this time. Snatch all the killer's phones. I saw Ren Xiaosu lying in the grass covering his mouth and laughing wildly. Thanks for the reminder. There are more than 20 mobile phones here. Blew up. Ren Xiaosu received the task of Anjin Temple. Come to the outside of the East Lake Tunnel to observe. Because the situation is too chaotic. He didn't rush into it. The result is the next second. There was a sudden explosion in the tunnel. Many of the killers who got into it were killed. And the killer who did not enter the tunnel. They were all surrounded and suppressed by the Tinder company. Ren Xiaosu immediately understood. This is Tinder's plan to prepare for immediate danger. At this time, the people of Anjin Temple near Donghu Park also understand. They were scammed by Tinder, but they couldn't control the tunnel at the moment. Now, they need to get rid of the power of the fire on the periphery. Fortunately, they are ready to be in time. The dragon of the Tang people also hovered out, immediately engaged with the people of the Tinder company. And Ren Xiaosu's side is also in a mess. The killer and the Tinder are constantly fighting. Tinder together is not so easy to handle. Anjin Temple can disrupt the plans of the fire with text messages. Tinder can also be done with the help of text messages. Seduce people with ulterior motives. On the surface of the lake at this time, more and more people from the Tinder company are surging. Ren Xiaosu knew it at a glance. These are probably the ones who detonated the tunnel. And the strength that these people have shown. It can't be called human anymore. The level of genetic modification of the Tinder company. Has it reached the point of changing the characteristics of the species? Fortunately, there are a lot of killers with good strength on the field. It's barely able to cope with the Tinder company's remodelers. At this time, Ren Xiaosu found the younger brothers of the bathing brother. Those who don't want to die follow me. He was preparing to lead people out of the encirclement. As a result, he was surrounded by members of the Tinder who rushed in. But he didn't panic at all. I saw the moment when the Tinder members surrounded and killed. A figure soared into the air with a black knife in hand. Only one person was subdued. At this time, the little brother on the side exclaimed, "Isn't this the guy who just grabbed his phone? He seems to be protecting people, doctors." Not for a while. The flames that surrounded them were all extinguished. Ren Xiaosu took out his mobile phone and took a wild shot. Ahead is hundreds of thousands. It's all money. At this time, the younger brother reminded him to run for his life. Ren Xiaosu refused and said, "I have to leave evidence. Otherwise, how to prove? They were killed by me and my friend Lao Su." The younger brother was taken aback when he heard this. The person wearing the mask just now turned out to be a friend of Dr. Ren's. "Wait, aren't you a doctor?" Ren Xiaosu turned his head and said, "Yes, but I have a wide range of businesses." At this time, the director of the crew in another place was begging for mercy. "We just wanted to shoot some footage. I have no intention of intervening in your strife. Can you let us go? The equipment must not be taken with you. But people can go. Remember the purgatory-like scene in front of you. Go back and tell the world. I love to watch the excitement late. Someone would have died sooner rather than later." And yet at this moment, Ren Xiaosu's figure fell. Weapons collided together in an instant. Make a buzzing sound. However, the black knife easily cut off the opponent's dagger. Didn't wait for the man to miss the knight. Ren Xiaosu swung it with a knife. The Tinder members were killed instantly. Ren Xiaosu finished killing. Don't forget to complain about the bells and whistles. Subsequently, she didn't forget to take out her phone and record a photo. At this time, the director of the crew stepped forward and asked for contact information. Ren Xiaosu ignored it. She walked straight up to the camera, pulled out all the film inside. The director was immediately distressed. Ren Xiaosu just turned his head and glared at him. He was immediately so frightened that he didn't dare to let his farts go. At this time, the swollen corpse was almost illuminated by Ren Xiaosu. But before leaving the battlefield, he still has to give Zhou Yingxue a corpse. I also expect him to pass the assessment of Anjin Temple. Immediately afterwards, Ren Xiaosu took a black shadow, hid in the grass, and became the sixth child. Seeing the people with the fire passing by, the black shadow instantly struck and killed the person. Then pick up and run. Yet on the way out, Ren Xiaosu bumped into a killer who was shooting fire. After the killer noticed, a knife slashed up, but he only hit an afterimage. When he was stunned, the corpse had long since been taken away by the black shadow. He suddenly burst into a rage. What the hell is this? It's too obscene to rob other people's prey, isn't it? Ren Xiaosu smiled. The lonely corpse is not picked up in vain. At this time, it was in barrier number 78. Zhou Yingxue is leisurely applying a mask. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu jumped in from the window holding the corpse. Suddenly frightened, Zhou Yingxue's mask fell off. "Grandpa, can you stop being so scary in the future? Heart disease is going to scare you out." I saw Ren Xiaosu drop the corpse. "I'll go out and find a place to take a picture of the body." Then he poured out a dozen hands from his bag. Each phone has completed 1 or 2 tasks. That's almost 10.5 million. Zhou Yingxue's eyes were full of stars, and I was lying in the hotel. Nothing was done. We'll be able to take away more than 2 million. Where can I find such a good old man in the world? Suddenly, the phone rang. There are special personnel to break the rules. Only members of the Tinder Hunt can participate in the selection. Rule cancellation. Ren Xiaosu suddenly felt that he was busy in vain. Such a big organization. How can I not even have the most basic credibility? Master, you should be the one who breaks the rules. In your eyes, that's the kind of person I am. Otherwise, it will follow. Ren Xiaosu waved his hand and said forget it. And Jinji must have sensed that there was something wrong with these phones. Let's think about how to get the money out of it first. The next day, Ren Xiaosu followed the convoy and set off again. Come to the 73 barriers. And Li ran. This time, I actually wanted to take a car with Ren Xiaosu. Along the way, he kept flipping through the newspaper in his hand. Ren Xiaosu looked back and understood. He shook the newspaper loudly. I wanted to show off. Suddenly, Li Ran coughed. The influence of this newspaper is very large. It is said that the Tinder company attaches great importance to this newspaper. Zhou Xue was speechless for a moment. Good guy. It's such a big circle. Don't you just want to say that you are very good at making headlines? Meanwhile, Tinder is holding a meeting. This time, I was able to get the lab materials smoothly, thanks to the plan of commanding the Dark Chandong. The conductor grimaced, and now is not the time to pat himself on the back. This time, there were many more casualties than we expected. During this operation, 1/3 of them are members of the elite Twilight Squad. At this time, the subordinates will report, mainly the one with the mask. If it weren't for him, there would not have been such a high number of casualties. And the people who fought with him are dead. We can't even see each other's extraordinary abilities. What is it? The conductor said with a gloomy face. Classified as AP4, level hazard.